Once again, as always, a huge thank you to all of our financial supporters. Firstly, our Patreon supporters over there at patreon.com/878 Survivor FM. Our production managers, thank you all so much. Shane, Tank Dazza, Hawks, Ever Daddy, Cinnamon, and a big shout out to the one and only Red Freedom. 19 months at the producer level, mate. We cannot thank you enough. Next, we want to give a huge thanks to all of our YouTube members. You're just growing each and every month. It blows us away. All of our emote bandits, our new level, our 87A survivors who are all there on the screen right now. Cannot thank you all enough. But a special shout out to our podcast bosses, Kenny Baker, Cinnamon, Matt Z, and Foxy. All of you are legends who help the show go on each and every week. Thank you all for your support, even just by watching or listening each week to the podcast. And welcome, one and all, to the spotlight on King Alex. Alex, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, mate. Thank you very much. How are you?
Not too bad at all, mate. Not too bad at all. Can I just say, when I was checking out your channel, mate, fuck me, you are such a typical recon sniper boy. That King Alex fucking the muscly pose fucking thing in your channel. Do you shave your chest hair and your leg hair and all the rest of that sort of stuff that the recon boys do?
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, look good, feel good, fight good.
Is that a thing in the UK military as well? I know here in Australia with our recon platoons and snipers and that, everyone teases them about they always have the cool kit and go fast gear and all the rest of it. Is it similar in the UK?
Mate, absolutely, yeah. Brilliant. So in the British Army we call it looking alley. So it stands for Airborne Light Infantry.
Yep.
So it's like a tactical call, and yeah, you can't be in snipers or recce or recon as you call it without being alley.
Yep, love it, absolutely love it, mate. Fucking brilliant. I when I tweeted out to everyone, I said this is going to be a really good show because there's a certain brotherhood and bond between people who've signed up to fight for their country. And it doesn't matter where you and I have had one conversation. Cobra, who's in chat, connected us when he shared that sniping video of yours, and I was just blown away by it. But yeah, that first conversation, mate, it's really weird, isn't it? How there's that camaraderie that exists between blokes, especially when we, from similar militaries. Australia is obviously part of the British Empire, the Commonwealth, and we have a lot in common. And even though there's a lot of time difference between, as you pointed out to me, you cheeky fucker, that I'm old school. There's a lot of similarities there, and that bond never. It's astounding, isn't it?
Yes, mate, it is. Yeah, and it, like you said, it doesn't matter what military you're from. I think all militaries are the same. I think they just kind of all attract the same type of degenerate individual. Yes. So we all tend to get along well.
And that's it. It's kind of weird, but there's very few actual soldiers that I hold an enmity towards, because at the end of the day, they're just the poor, silly, stupid buggers who were stupid enough to sign on the dotted line so the politicians can send us to fight in some weird fucking place, hopefully not our own fucking home territory. That would be absolutely fucking horrible. And put us against each other. It's kind of fucking sad, but there's almost a mutual respect, whether they're fucking Chinese, Russian, Indonesian, God knows what else. You've still got to respect that these people are doing for their country what you're doing for yours.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think maybe during my era in the military, I had it a little bit easier than, I never went on operations against another recognized military despite their own personal beliefs. Yeah. I was quite lucky that the people who I was deployed to deal with were quite often complete savages, and I feel it may be a lot more difficult for some of these Ukrainian guys, despite having been invaded, that the guys they are fighting are just conscripts, 18-year-olds with no clue doing exactly what they're doing. That's quite a big difference to make, that it would probably be a lot harder to come to terms with.
Oh, look, it's been very eye-opening watching a lot of the footage that's coming out of the Ukraine, and you said in one of your videos you were actually there on the ground as well doing some stuff, which we'll sort of talk around because obviously there's NDAs there for you. But
Yeah, yeah, sure.
yeah, there's some pretty fucking scary shit. And I know militaries all around the world are watching what's happening there. You know, like this drone warfare, and I'm not talking about fucking drones firing predator missiles and things like that, but these drones that are targeting individual soldiers and dropping explosive bombs on top of them. That is nightmare material, mate.
Yeah, absolutely horrendous. You know, the level of some of the trauma that these guys are going to come home with, drone related trauma is horrendous. You know, there's a particularly harrowing video. I won't link it or post it in chat. And it's a Russian guy, and he's running away. He's got no rifle, he's got no kit, and he's running away while the drone follows him. And it's a really scary thought, because in the military, you know, you train hard, you train as hard as you can, you push yourself to the limits because you want to be better than the other person. But how do you push yourself against a drone that doesn't get tired? It doesn't need food. It doesn't need to stop. It will just go until its battery runs out.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, batteries last longer than legs and fatigue and hunger. You know, it's it's a pretty horrendous place to be on the other end of.
Yeah, it's absolutely scary. Very, very scary. But we'll come back to that. Well, let's start by finding out a little bit more about you, mate. So, if you're not comfortable sharing any of this info, just tell me to fuck off. But your age?
Yeah, so I'm 27 years old, mate.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So
and
relatively young.
From the UK. Yeah, yeah, I am, mate. I'm like the new generation of people getting out of the military now. So.
Yep. Misses and kids.
Yeah. Yes, mate. I have 2 kids, and one just arrived the other day. A little son called Theo. He just arrived the other day.
That's awesome.
He's 7 days old now. Yeah, and a beautiful missus.
2 boys, or a boy and a girl, or
no? I've got a boy and a girl now. Yeah, so I've got a girl. She's about 4.
What did I hear? Every man prays his son grows up just like him, and prays his daughter never meets anyone who did.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Yeah. Although I hope my son makes some better life decisions than I have.
So, but look, when I say that, I look at my son, and he's at university. He's studying history, and I just look at him, and I'm so fucking proud that he's not as dumb as his old man.
Yeah, mate, absolutely. Yeah. But I hope he takes my girlfriend's brains.
He turns around to me and he says things like, "Yeah, but Dad, I look at, he's 21 now, and he goes, I look at you and what you'd achieved by my age. And you'd been overseas to Somalia and things like that." And I said, "Mate, trust me, you are doing life fucking so much better." I'm just so proud of him. He's awesome. How long you been gaming for?
All my life, really, mate.
Yep.
I was thinking about this because obviously I've watched your spotlights before, and I was thinking, what's he going to ask me? You know, what's my very first game I played? And I was thinking back, and you know, I think the very first video game I played, right, it was a floppy disk that my dad brought home from work. So my dad used to be in the security services.
A floppy disk. There'll be people listening to this who won't even know what a floppy disk is.
I don't have a fucking clue what it is. So he brought home a floppy disk, right, and it had a game on it called Shoot Bin Laden, and it was like a pop-up game where Bin Laden would pop up and you'd click it and shoot him. I think that was my very first video game ever.
Is that the Acrobat Flash player one?
Mate, I have no idea. I just remember it's called Shoot Bin Laden. I must have been about 4 or 5, and he used to sit on his lap. We used to just slot Bin Laden. You know, so maybe that was like some of my initial break into gaming.
I remember that phase when Flash players were games were all the rage, and there was one I remember doing the rounds, and it was you ran around shooting Bin Laden, and it was quite funny. Yeah. Oh geez, that's going back a while.
Yeah, mate, yes.
What about when you were in the military? Did you do much gaming then?
Yeah, so I've always been a big gamer. So me and my friends, you know, when we were in school and stuff, we built our own computers and stuff like that. So I've always been like a PC gamer.
Yep.
And we would have that, and absolutely, mate. You know, and when I was in the military, you know, I would always have my own computer that I'd built. So I would always have my computer in the barracks. And then, you know, I'd have guys going in and be like, "You fucking playing video games on a computer?" I'd be like, "Yeah, mate, it's 10 times better." And then, you know, they'd be playing like Call of Duty, and then they'd see my screen, you know, it's like 1440p, it's 120 hertz. And they're like, "Jesus fucking Christ, that's so much better than my Xbox." And then like they would come to me and be like, "Mate, if I give you the money, can you build me a computer?" So I was like, "Yeah, fucking course I can, sure." So then they're like, you know, the block quickly became like a gaming PC because people would just come to me and be like, "Mate, if I give you the money," you know, think back, I should have just charged money.
Yeah.
I should have. Why did I never just whack 200, 300 quid on top?
Because they're your mates.
Missed opportunities.
Yeah. They all owe you one. Next time you had to move or something, whoever had a ute had to help you move or something like that. But yeah, it goes around, comes around. Were you doing like LAN gaming in the lines and things like that?
No, so we had pretty decent Wi-Fi, to be fair. You know, I think you paid like £20 a month and you had like ultra fast. I say it's good. You know, it was good for what it was. But no, it was pretty decent, and we all used to like, play a lot of games. I can't remember what we used to play. Towards the end of me leaving the military, everyone was like obsessed with Warzone. It wasn't. I don't mind Warzone, but it kind of wasn't really my thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good. Definitely a lot of Call of Duty, a lot of Battlefield in the lines. Yeah.
Bit too like gamey for me. That's one thing I've tried. Probably about the only one I still dabble in a bit is PUBG, because it is a bit more gritty and realistic-ish.
Yeah, man, I like PUBG.
A bit like DayZ, a bit of a looter shooter as well. You don't have to worry about gear so much because there is plenty of it, but I just like that aspect of it. And the one life, and once you're dead, that's it. Go start another fucking game. No respawn straight back into the action and stuff like that. It's
yeah, absolutely, man. I think, and I also feel like Call of Duty is like, you can only be good at Call of Duty when you're like 14. Like I feel like when I jump on a game of Call of Duty now, I just get my ass handed to me.
Yes.
It's like I'm still pretty good at video games, man. Like what's going on? Like I just don't have it anymore. Mate.
It's like there's a game, StarCraft, I think it is, and it's pretty popular around the world, but the main place that game goes off is in South Korea, and the guys who play it, and it's just a real-time strategy game, but the guys who play it are all in their teens to at the oldest they're their early 20s, because after that their bodies just aren't capable of keeping up with the lightning fast reflexes these little kids have. And you even look at things like the PUBG internationals, CSGO. Once you reach a certain age, you just don't have that hand-eye coordination that the young kids who've got 10 cans of Red Bull or a jar of fucking G Fuel or whatever in them can move. They're just
prescription of Adderall, mate.
Yeah. They're lightning fast reflexes, but that's where the beauty of a game like DayZ and even PUBG to an extent allows you to compensate a bit with strategy. You look at someone like Toprek. He's got insane skills, but he's also a master strategist. I don't think he realizes half the time what he's doing, and that's why it's great. I introduced you to my friend Vigilante Gamers channel, and I love when he does those breakdowns of combat between people, and he did one on Toprek, and he summed up. Did you get to watch that one, the breakdown he did of the Toprek fight?
I haven't seen the Toprek fight, no,
mate. It's so good. But he ends up going, tactically, pretty much everything was perfect. Then you've just got to add in the fact that this is Toprek we're talking about. The guy does stuff that's humanly not possible for 99.9% of the player base. It's just insane. Yeah. And rather than be angry, I just feel glad that I get to see people. And that's how I feel with Olympic level athletes and people who can sing, and can do stuff that I will never be capable of doing. Yeah, I wish I could. Sucks that I can't, but I'm just grateful I get to fucking watch it. It's amazing what some of these people
I think that's
do.
kind of the beauty of YouTube as well. It's like it's showed just how high the skill level can be.
Yeah.
In some of these games,
and it's
great to sit back and watch.
Constantly being upped every day, with new metas and new stuff coming here and there, and it's just getting better and better every day. In some aspects, a bit worse, but yeah, mostly it's just you've only got to look at the quality of DayZ videos, gaming videos in general, from when they were first being filmed just using a phone camera or something like that to record the screen. And then they had capture cards, and it's just insane.
Yeah, man, I was thinking about that the other day. YouTube gaming used to be a wild place, and the bar used to be...
It wouldn't be a Boydie stream without internet issues. Fuck me. God almighty.
All good, man. That's why we love them.
Okay, so we'll go back to where we were talking about how hard it is to break out in the DayZ market right now, because just with the sheer volume of content out there, and the quality of it is just insane. From your JLKs, your videos on sniper tactics, you've got Fubar Bundy dropping a video that gets 1 million views when he does it as well. Just the standard has risen so high compared to what it was back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Like I think we said, I think the first DayZ videos that really took off in terms of content, the level of content would obviously be the Frankie videos,
Yes.
and now they've just gone through the roof, the level of content. And it's like we said, it's so hard to be a DayZ creator, not only because the level of the standard is so good, but DayZ is one of the hardest videos to get, one of the hardest games to get content for. Like we briefly discussed, the content relies completely on other people and
Yeah.
not on yourself. And if you don't run into anyone, or you don't run into anyone who interacts with you, you've got no content. Like we said, PvP montages and just killing loads of people is all well and good, but it gets boring very quickly.
Yeah.
So it's something I've tried, but getting that level of content, it's a serious amount of work. And if you're one of those guys that does make that kind of content, you should really pat yourself on the back, because it's fucking difficult. And also, there's so much of it out there. How are you supposed to compete with someone who has all day, every day to make it?
Yeah.
And when
and
you don't
the
do this as a
skills that
job,
some of these people have, like look at someone like Happy Bombs. The level of production that he puts into his shows is Black's Hawthorne. He's the same. I don't know if you've ever watched Lax Hawthorne when he streams, but he has these little novel intros that him and his brother go out and record of him walking the streets. And he had one where it looked like he was drunk walking around town, which just added to his persona. And that you can't just do what I do, because I'm just going to do what I do. I turn it on, and we've got 4 people watching us now. That's a car full of people, including me and you. I think that's fucking awesome.
yeah, it's good,
because this is long form content. But when you're competing against these people who are making some high level shit, dude, you've got to lift your game, and you can't blame anyone else but yourself if you don't.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, Cobra set me and you up, and I think he had the right idea, where he began to make content for official servers, and no one was really doing that at the time, So I think he hit a good little niche there, because there's so much modding and stuff, and I did like the modding, and now I'm kind of drifting away from it and getting a more truer DayZ experience. And I think his official server content was like, he really hit the nail on the head, because not really many people were doing that. And that's the kind of, I think if that's advice I would give to DayZ content creators or people watching this who want to become them, you need to find that niche that no one else is doing.
Yep.
And you need to do it better than the people who are doing it well are doing. You need to,
find something you think you can do better, and not just a little bit better, but a lot better.
Yeah, and that's it. And I think this is advice for content creators in general, really. You need to make content that people want to watch, not what you want to watch.
Yeah.
And if you want to watch long form content, like the DayZ movies, that's great. But if you want people to watch your stuff, you need to go above and beyond what's on the market already.
Yep. Yeah, you've only got to look at it's easy to have a 1 hour journey that's memorable and is just a great watch. And you may have been streaming it, and chat were loving it, you and this random person. But as a video, it might not be so great, because they're missing that live interaction that chat was having with you. That's where someone like JLK, he's lifting his game with those recreated scenes that flesh out what happens in the story. He kind of guesses at what may have happened with other people, and then he goes in. Fubar Bundy does the same. The start of every video of his, he does it in the Armor Engine or something like that. Maybe you could do it with DayZ Editor and Builder and that now. But he would zoom down onto his character running, and then kind of morph from the aerial view into the gameplay footage and that. Those little things that they probably take fucking a long time to do, but
they take a long time. Yeah.
I can't.
That is a lot. It might be like 5 to 10 seconds, but that's probably easily an hour to make that. You've got to get people in the right place. You've got to get all the guys kitted. They probably do it on a private server and they just dish it out, but they've got to then go back to the footage, check what those people were wearing, then recreate the scene. You've got to get people together. You've got to film it. There's easily a couple of takes. Something will probably go wrong with any time of content creation. It always goes fucking wrong. That's easily an hour for maybe 5 to 10 seconds worth of content. Yeah.
Yeah, like I would love to know just how much time goes into editing one of those 1 hour fucking epic stories that some people do with the cutaway scenes. Kill Beans has started doing them as well. Her videos are popping off. It's just, yeah, the days where you could just simply upload a bit of footage, they're gone. They're gone.
Yeah,
You've got to really
long
lift
gone.
your game, really lift your
Absolutely,
game to stand
absolutely.
out, or just do
Yeah, no.
shorts.
Yeah, or like I try to do with my content, just have a small bite-sized bit of guide or a tactic or a
Yep.
tip, and just keep it nice and short. You know, like Cobra just said there, yeah, it takes me 3 days to edit. Like, absolutely, mate, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. And I would put money on some of these larger guys, JLK, will not do all their editing themselves. They will, I'm pretty sure I'm not massively into Twitch, so, but I'm sure when they stream it, they will 100%. Well, maybe not 100%, but I'm fairly certain they will pay somebody to go through and edit all that down. They will have editors they hire out who will cut it down, and then they'll probably do the final cut.
Does, because he doesn't stream. All he does
Perhaps,
is YouTube.
perhaps not JLK, but some of these guys who, like the Running Man Z,
well, the Running Man does. He has Cooper, a fellow Australian, does his editing for him now. Same as Cooper does Ben Fruit, and that's smart because
absolutely.
Streaming is, I still think that YouTube is harder, but streaming is still fucking hard, and you've got to put those hours in every single day that you're scheduled. Again, if you don't, people will find someone else to watch, and that's a streamer's worst nightmare. They're going to lose their audience because they weren't on. It's why so many of them very rarely ever take holidays, which is fucking, dude. You've got to get a good schedule going, but. Yeah, to be able to do that, Paul talks about it all the time, how hard it is, but he still sticks with it. And he does do some editing himself, but now that he's got someone doing it for him, but before he had someone, it was a day of editing for him. Even with a fairly simple editing style, he wasn't doing the fancy cinematic scenes and all the rest of it. But it was still a day off of streaming, and that's a day where he's not making his main income from Twitch. So it's hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think I would go out and say, you cannot make it on Twitch without making it on YouTube first. Twitch has no discoverability. So it's all well and good, like jumping on Twitch and streaming for 5 days a week, but no one's ever going to find you. You need to build. That's when you need to take it off.
It's fucking
exactly. So you'd need to build a good YouTube base. So it's like there's no escaping that hours and hours of editing. There's just no way around it. Even if you prefer Twitch, you have to kind of get that content onto YouTube where there's more discoverability. Or TikTok. TikTok's amazing for discoverability.
I hate TikTok.
I'm not sure how I do as well, and I'm not sure how many DayZ TikTokers there are, but for certainly other content, getting guys off TikTok onto your stream is a really good way of doing it.
Shorts.
But there's no escaping the hours of editing.
If you're not a fan of TikTok, just do the YouTube Shorts. They're all the rage at the moment, and I had something pop up apparently in February next year. You're going to be able to earn ad revenue off of Shorts somehow. So. Yeah,
I just saw that. And they're definitely trying to take the spotlight away from TikTok. And on my dashboard analytics page, I'm constantly getting notifications about shorts, and it's kind of something I'm not really interested in. I like well-crafted content. But I think it's just going to be the way you have to go.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be the way you have to go.
Yep. Now we did talk about something else in the period where I thought we were live, but we weren't. And that was some of the shenanigans that we suspect happened. And, you kind of said that you do wonder how many people are being a bit liberal with stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were talking obviously about, these people creating these massive epic adventures, and there's the standard is so high now with so much competition that if we're not already, we're definitely going to start breaching into the old Frankie starting to become a little bit scripted videos. And I know you said you've seen guys who are openly honest. Yep, this is scripted. But I would wager there's probably a little bit of behind the scenes magic going on in some of these videos.
For sure.
I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but I just think it's the natural progression. You've always got to beat the next guy. It's a pretty cutthroat it's a pretty cutthroat thing, content creation. Like you've always got to be better than everyone else.
And if you're not pumping
For
out the
these
content
bigger guys,
regularly,
anyways. Yeah,
YouTube can be a
for these
cruel
big
mistress.
exactly, and for these bigger guys as well. You know, if you're all doing the same thing, you need to be beating the other one if you're doing the similar sort of thing. So it's yeah, I would wager there's a little bit of behind the magic.
They're going to run out of storylines of what a 5,000 hour DayZ veteran can do to insert style of server, insert random fucking descriptive terms, and you know that's all the meta at the moment.
Yeah, you're right. You know, if we're going to run out of zeros, they can put behind the fucking numbers for the amount of hours they've played.
Yeah, but no, and look, as long as they're not hurting anyone's experience, I really don't care. You know, we talked about young Milo, who I did a spotlight on, and how he's never come back because he did. He fucked up bad because it was a live server that had people paying to be, you know, priority queue and all the rest of it, and they were spawning stuff in. You know, he said that himself in the interview, but he's never come back from that.
I mean, that's so unfair because thinking about it, you know, we joked and said he should do an apology video because YouTube loves an apology video, but you know, JLK was caught cheating years ago, you know, and he's bounced back fine. You know, he was I can't was he teleporting to players or did he just know where everyone was to get the footage? I can't remember what he was doing.
ESP is what he was caught for. Maybe he was doing other stuff. I don't know. I really don't care. It's a video game.
No,
he wasn't hurting anyone. Didn't kill anyone, didn't rape any babies or anything. It's just, you know, storm in a teacup sort of thing. And I think he's moved on and he's learned from it. And he's making arguably the best content DayZ has ever seen.
Yes, yeah. It's some good content. It's some very good content. Yeah. But there's nothing wrong with scripted content, you know, like we were saying. You know, I think when Frankie made his return and he made those DayZ videos, I think there's some of the best DayZ videos on the internet. You know, the newer ones, they're really good. They're obviously scripted. You know, Namouse looks absolutely nothing like Namouse on a live server in his videos, but you know, it's great. It's great fun. They're good fun to watch.
I actually loved his one of the things that impressed me the most with Frankie's videos was his outros. It was like a fucking movie outro, credits and thanks to everyone involved, and it was a great experience. And I'm sad that he's disappeared again, but I'm not surprised.
So I think what happened there was, you know, he came back and he brought a lot of people on to obviously up the thing, and he probably paid quite a few people, you know, for animations and stuff like that. And when the returns weren't as good because he'd been away from YouTube a while, you know, even though I think every single one of those videos hit 1 million views, it wasn't the numbers he was expecting, and it probably made no sense to keep it going. You know, he probably was like, I can't sustain this level of content with this level of returns. And then I think he probably got a bit too much, and he's took a step away, which is sad because I think he's definitely up there, one of the greatest content creators that YouTube has ever seen, especially for DayZ. But you know, if it's time to walk away, it's time to walk away.
I'm just bringing up his channel now because I am interested in those numbers. 425. What was that? Rainbow Six. Where's his DayZ stuff? Carrier of Dead, almost 1 million. Escaping Mount Doom, 1 million. 3.8 million. Geez, what would that be in ad revenue?
So I think, off the top of my head, let me have a look. If I pull up my analytics and I go to revenue,
his DayZ content is clearly the most popular.
Yeah. It's what most people found him for, I'm sure, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I'm looking at this analytics screen. I can't work out how much per view is, but yeah, I'm sure it's a good whack of money. Yeah, we're probably looking at a few thousand per video, easily.
And the guy's away for 5 years, 4 years, 5 years, comes back, 2 million views. Just a casual 2 million views. I don't think I've had 2 million views total on my entire channel, and he gets it in one fucking video. But as you said, the quality, you know, and also the chemistry between him and Sada. I know Sada upsets a lot of people. I personally like the guy. I find him refreshing. That, you know, someone who doesn't just speak platitudes. to keep people happy. Is he right in everything? No, but it's just his opinion. He's entitled to it. But yeah,
I think
was awesome
I think sometimes with these big personalities, people tend to forget they are real people.
Yeah,
they're real people with flaws, and everyone's human. And I think sometimes they're put on a pedestal and they are seen to be above that, and it's almost like you can't make a mistake. Like with the Milo thing, these are just people, man, and they're trying their best.
yeah.
As long as they're not openly dickheads, everyone's going to do something wrong now and again. I do stuff wrong all the time. I just don't get called for it.
And all my stuff was done before the age of webcams and fucking camera phones and stuff like that. So I'm pretty safe.
I tell you what, I am fucking glad I grew up in an age before everything was put on social media.
Oh yeah. But no, I think he put something out about how he needs sponsors to make it viable for him, and I was kind of stunned because shit, man.
I don't understand that, man. Like 3.8, like you'd think people would be throwing sponsorships at him, throwing them at him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess. Yeah. I don't know.
Weird, really, really weird. I know DayZ are quite tight with their money, and they probably wouldn't sponsor something, but surely there'd be some company out there fucking that the guy's name is just so highly regarded for this sort of content. Surely there'd have to be something out there that you could get to be associated with and put into the video somehow. But then you start to enter that Raid Shadow Legends and
yeah, I don't really think that fits the vibe of his videos, does it?
No. It always makes me laugh. Like you see people doing the Raid sponsorships, and you can tell their heart's not in it. You can tell they've never played that fucking game.
Yeah. Raid and Manscaped, I think they're the two that pop up the most.
See, Manscaped I'd probably do for the shits and giggles.
That's it, man. I got a big beard. I got a hairy chest. Where's my Manscaped sponsor?
You don't have a hairy chest. You're a recon boy, mate. It's a baby smooth. Could be that goat. What do you call it? Dressing for Ali or something?
Ali, yeah, Ali. It stands for Airborne Light Infantry. Yeah, so it means tactically cool. Yeah.
Yeah, go fast. We just call them the go fast boys with
their high speed, low drag.
Their skin tight fucking latex bike shorts and yeah.
Yeah, we used to have a saying there in the British Army: you look good, feel good, fight good. If you look the part, you feel the part, and if you feel the part, you are the part.
Now, what else did we cover that we'll just keep the vibe going. We missed out on that a little bit before. I don't know what the fuck happened there. It was saying I was live, and I was like, no, I'm watching. I better check this, make sure it is working, but it wasn't. So now, what made you join the military?
Which answer do you want, mate? Do you want the nice fluffy answer, or do you want the real answer, mate?
I want the real answer, mate. Give me your fluffy answer first, so I can call you
fluffy
out.
Fluffy answer. I needed some direction in life. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't want to go to uni, and I wanted some adventure.
And the real answer?
I wanted to fucking kill bad guys, man. I wanted to be a fucking high speed, low drag, badass motherfucker.
So did you always have a view of trying to get into special forces or something like that, or you just
absolutely 100%. I think when I was about 8, my dad bought me Bravo 20 book, and I read it.
Oh
and
my god!
Then I'd be like in school.
That's a rabbit hole, isn't it? The Bravo 20 story. Once you get into it.
Yeah, man. And then I'd be in school, and I'd be in like maths, and they're like, "What do you want to be when you want to grow up?" And I'd be like, "I want to be in the SS." And they're like, "You're fucking crazy, man. You're like 8."
Did you read the one that got away?
I did, yes, I did. I also read, I can't think of the name now. I also read the other one.
The one where, I know
the official account.
Yes.
And they're like, there's a bit of liberties being taken.
There's a lot of, and the sad part of it is, like, in that book, I think that's the one where he says that in particular, is it Chris Ryan? He says
Chris Ryan is the one that got away. Yeah, he I think still to this day he holds
on his story. The stuff about taking a guy out with a knife, and they can't find any actual proof of that anywhere. And when they went back, they were able to surprisingly find a lot of people, just little Bedouins, villages and stuff like that who've got no reason. They're not involved in the politics, anti-West sort of rhetoric and all the rest of it. They've got no reason to lie. And certain parts of both stories were verifiable and other parts were just complete and utter bullshit. And the sad part is, with Chris Ryan in particular, as you were about to say, his escape and evasion is fucking historic and groundbreaking. He didn't need to embellish on it. It was already legendary enough.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure officially, he still holds the record for longest on foot escape ever. 200 miles. I think he walked north to Syria.
Yep.
He had to drink irradiated water. And like you said, it's a fucking phenomenal story. But I think maybe the Andy McNabb book came out first, and there was a bit more action in it, and then he felt like he needed to maybe, it's all money, isn't it? He needed to maybe make his story a bit more exciting. I don't know the full ins and outs, but yeah.
But
even it's a phenomenal story, but
pulling out the rocket launcher and taking out the enemy truck, and it was like when they go on the ground and they're like, no one's got anything about that. No one's got anything about that. It's just yeah. And then all the bit of argy-bargy with legs and all the rest of it, and a bit of shit talking about him and stuff like that. It was very, very sad. It's an amazing story on its own, and the sad part is we'll probably never know the truth unless you were there on the ground with them, Mark and the rest of the team. But an absolutely amazing book. I remember reading it. I actually read the Philadelphia Inquirer article online first, and just sat there going website, because they was all on different pages, and just reading and just going, this is one of the most amazing fucking stories of all time. And then to find out that it had been embellished on, it was like, guys, you didn't need to. It's an amazing enough story on its own.
Yeah, absolutely.
But did you ever try out for SAS?
No, I didn't, mate. Unfortunately, life tends to get in the way. I think that's probably one of the biggest things. Everyone joins the military and they're like, I'm going to fucking go on selection, and I'm going to pass, I'm going to get in. And do you know, I know a few guys who would have easily passed, and life just gets in the way. I have a couple of mates who have badged and who are in, and obviously I'm not going to talk about what they do or anything, but they are away a lot, like a lot, and they have families and they don't see them.
Yep.
And they don't see their missus, and they don't see their mates, and their whole life is now the army. And I think, especially when you're in, there seems to be a confusion about going for the special forces. People seem to think, I'll just go to the special forces and life will be great. And it's like, mate, if you don't enjoy the army now, I've got news for you. You're not going to enjoy it there, because it's just the army on fucking steroids. It's more weapons to clean, it's more operations to go on, it's harder fucking jobs, and there's less blokes to do it with. And there's kind of a mysticism about it, which doesn't really exist. They're fucking incredible guys, they're very well trained and they're very dedicated, but it's not a great lifestyle unless you fucking love it.
Sorry, it was bugging me. I just had to find. It's not streaming. Share your screen. That was the other one by Mike Coburn. Soldier 5, The Real Truth About the Bravo 20 Mission.
That's the one.
Yeah. So if going back to that, folks, get Bravo 20, read that. Get the one that got away, read that. Then get Soldier 5, The Real Truth About the Bravo 20 Mission, and you'll have your mind blown. Brilliantly written book, and just absolutely amazing. Absolutely freaking amazing. It was bugging me. It was in the back of my mind. Was like, what the fuck was that book? Because I read it as well. And when you read it, it's like, okay, then. It's kind of sad that they felt the need to embellish on it. But no, it's absolutely insane. Like, a lot of people don't realise the toll that joining something like the military takes. Did you meet your missus while you were in the military?
I did, but I was on the way out.
Yep.
I put in my paperwork and I was on the way out when I met her.
That probably reinforced the decision for you as well. It's like, when you're getting deployed, especially the last 10 plus years have been hell for the military around the world. with just the amount of deployments that people have had?
So yes and no. Deployments never really bothered me. In fact, some of my best times in the army were on operations. I spent 6 months in Iraq and I spent 7 in Afghan. And they're the best times of my military career. Like, honestly, that included with sniper school was probably the best times of my life.
What was worse, Afghanistan or Iraq?
Afghanistan was more frustrating. Iraq was boring. Iraq was very boring. I spent
but you were in Iraq after the initial invasion and when it was
so I was in Iraq during
first.
So I was in Iraq when ISIS had took Mosul, and I was with the Peshmerga in northern Iraq, training and getting the Peshmerga ready to basically take back Mosul. So I was outside of Mosul, and we were training and getting these guys up to scratch. And it was very boring because we were not there. We were there, but we didn't get to go on the raids.
Yep.
And we were on the same camp as the SEALs, and also there were some Delta Force guys there, and it was very frustrating that we would be out there training these guys, doing this work, coming home, and then they'd go off with the Delta boys and do the raid, and then it was very boring. It was it was cool, but it was fucking boring.
What were they like to work with the Delta boys?
We were on the same camp, but it's very much don't fucking talk to them. Do not fucking talk to them. You do your thing, they will do theirs. Don't fucking talk to them. Don't fucking ask them questions. They're better than you. You got the sergeant major. Like, don't fucking look at them in the cookhouse. It's the thing is that most of them are pretty chilled out guys, but the regular army is not chilled out, and they don't like you to have that kind of. They wouldn't want you going up and talking to them. And to be honest, these guys were doing some pretty hardcore shit. They probably don't want some fucking 18, 19-year-old squaddy coming up to him being like, you guys are fucking cool. He's going to be like, mate, I've just been fucking out all night having a firefight. I'm just going to have some breakfast and go to bed. Do you want to fuck off? So, yeah. They were cool guys. They were cool guys. They were humble.
Yep. Yeah, they're funny guys, the Americans. I worked with them a few times. We would have them over here, and they're a different breed. I loved when they'd be running around our barracks and that, and like in the movies, they do fucking sing while they're running, and it's
fucking ridiculous, man. I've never seen anything like it.
The first thing I thought was, you're obviously not fucking running hard enough. It's fucking whenever they took us for a run, mate, singing was the last fucking thing on my mind.
Yeah, I'd be breathing like I had a gunshot wound to the chest, mate. Like I had a blood-sucking chest wound, mate. I'd be blowing out my fucking arse, mate. And these guys are fucking singing songs. I'm like, boys, I don't know. Do we do a little less deadlifts?
Gonna run all day until the running's done. We're on the. This was on a Saturday morning. We'd been out on a night on the piss, and we were all hungover. And this was like 6 o'clock in the fucking morning, and the Yanks are the Marines are running past us singing that, and we're out in the balcony and we're just yelling at them, just shut the fuck up. And what do? Who's that over there looking at me? Morning. How you doing? And they're all waving at us, and we're fucking throwing bottles and cans and fucking just shut the fuck up.
It's a very different culture, isn't it? Like the British military and the Australian military. Like we like a drink, don't we? We like a drink, and they don't kind of have that. They don't get that. Like they try and mold them into all to be good people and honourable.
Yep.
And I feel like the British military and the Australian military are fucking out of control, pisshead, violent individuals who the NCOs spend all day trying to keep them in fucking line from killing each other or killing someone else or constantly being drunk. Like, I remember when I joined the army, they were like, it is illegal for you to be drunk on parade in the morning. And I was like, who the fuck's going to be drunk in the morning on parade? And then, going to the military, every fucking day there was somebody who was still drunk from the night before. And it's just like, apparently somebody with a black eye.
It's changed here in Australia, mate. Like, I quite heavily involved in a few military groups, and I was chatting with some of the new generation. I managed, or I did manage, I handed it over to the younger guys now. And I asked them, what's the policy on drinking in the army? Because basically it was work hard, play hard. Back in the day, they used to have this thing called Sporties. I don't know whether you guys do it, but every Thursday was you worked until midday, and then you had lunch, and then after lunch, everyone had to go and play sport. You know, the army it loves its sport. Yeah, it's one of the short of going into action. It's one of the best ways to get competitive spirit in people, particularly when it's contact sports like rugby and so on. But at the end of playing sport, everyone had to go to the boozer. You could not skip the boozer. You had to go there and stay until the RSM and the CO left.
We had a similar thing. We had sports Wednesdays. So Wednesday you would go play sport for an hour, and then we would all go to a nearby city called Newport, and it'd be Newport Wednesdays. You'd be out there. Your CQ would be out on the piss. Your boss would be out on the piss.
What I never understood was why do it on a weekday? They moved it 1 year to Fridays. My God, that was the best fucking year ever, because it made perfect sense. Finish the week with a hard week of working, but they do it on a Thursday fucking night, Wednesday for you. So the next day, my fucking God, you have not experienced life until you've had that bloke who went out and was drinking rum all fucking night, and he's managed to make it to work the next morning, but he's still fucking blind, rotten drunk, 0.2 fucking alcohol, blood alcohol reading, and he's sweating alcohol out of his system. It is one of the most vile smells you will ever have in your life. And you're running behind him and he's vomiting, he's pissing himself, he's shitting himself. But yeah, oh my God.
Yeah, no, absolutely, mate. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't want to be hungover on my own time. So when it gets to the weekend, that's my time. So I'm going to be hungover on the army's time. So I was always a fan of drinking on the school night.
I loved it. But I was really, really bad for I had a major battle with alcohol back in the day, mate. I particularly post Somalia, I could not control my drinking. Like after Somalia, my platoon sergeant ended up sending me up to Tully, which is our jungle warfare training centre in North Queensland, just to get me away from being on the piss. Because I was nearly every single night, mate. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I pissed thousands of dollars up against the wall, and he sent me up there. Kind of a mistake because I got a wet boozer up there, but it was actually really fucking good. I loved it. It was just, Tully was our hardcore training centre. Most people hated it. It scares the shit out of you the first time you go there. Pure jungle where you can't see your hand in front of your face, and
it's horrendous.
That's a feeling you'll never fucking forget.
Pure primary jungle. I'm very gutted. I never managed to get to the jungle in my career. I did Africa, right on the equator, but I never got to go to the jungle. I'm quite gutted. Primary jungle is a bit of a beast.
Yeah, and these little glow in the dark things, and then there was these birds, mate. I went there around the time of Jurassic Park coming out. I swore to God I could hear fucking velociraptors, mate. Fuck me, I was so scared that night, and we never had live ammo. We used to do river crossings up there, and you've obviously done the river crossing drills. It's one of the scariest fucking times because when you're in that river, you're very vulnerable, and if you don't have good security, so it's pretty stressful enough as it is. Then a few years later, I went to another part of the river, and there's a sign there: saltwater crocodiles or estuarine crocodiles inhabit this river, and it was like, okay, I've just learned something. Saltwater crocodiles are also in freshwater. Okay. Does anyone have live ammo? No live ammo or nothing like that. We're doing river crossings, mate, in fucking saltwater crocodile country.
Yeah, I'm quite lucky. All the river crossings I did were always in nice cold Brecon in Wales, where there was, the biggest thing in there was probably like a pike or something.
Yeah, Australia is quite funny for that. I remember one day waking up and doing my morning routine and pulled my ammo belt out. I was the gunner at the time, and in the bottom of my Minimi pouch was a scorpion and a spider. Fuck me! It was like, how do you have both of them in there? I'm deadly scared of spiders too, mate. I am like, I turn into a quivering fucking wreck. So I just closed the magazine pouch, put my webbing on the ground, and just jumped up and down on it until they were both dead. But yeah, just even thinking about it now. I fucking hate spiders, mate. Hate them. And we've got these big bird-eating spiders in Australia too. They're the fucking stuff of nightmares, mate. But yeah.
No insect should be big enough to eat a bird, man.
Mate, Google them. When you Google them, they are. They're the only animal I ever saw make Steve Irwin shake with fear. There's a video of him, and he's got a bird-eating spider on a piece of bark, and his hand is literally shaking. And I was like, if that animal can make Steve Irwin fucking scared, I need to be scared of it too. Yeah. So, how many years did you do in total? Was it 7?
So when I first started making videos, 7, but when I got out, it was about 8.
Yep.
Because it takes a year to get out. You put your papers in, you got a year to get out.
And what rank did you make it to?
So I was a lance corporal. So I was one below corporal. So I was never in charge of a full section, but I was in charge of a fire team. So I was the second in command. But because I was also in sniper platoon, I was in charge of a sniper pair.
Yeah.
Because I was the lance corporal. So a sniper pair or a pair commander is what's more commonly referred to as the spotter. So I started as a sniper, I promoted, and then I became the spotter or the pair commander.
To give you an indication of what my military career was like, I made it to lance corporal twice.
Nice, mate. They say you're not a lance corporal until you've been demoted. So.
And I discharged as a digger. Both times alcohol-related demotions, mate. It was just, drinking. I'm pretty much a teetotaler these days. I'm not anti-alcohol. I'll still have a beer with the right person. Got alcohol in the home, but I've moved past it. Those days are well and truly behind me. The last big drinking session I had was the interview I did with what's his name, Mr. Blackout, and I had a ball. Had an absolute ball. I still love getting rip roaring drunk, but I just don't see the need indeed to do it every night. But
that's the thing. I think in the culture as well, it's very easy to become alcohol dependent. I know a lot of guys who are alcohol dependent, and if they're not, they're certainly on their way.
Yeah.
It's just the culture. I don't think it's a bad thing that the culture is that way. I just think it does. The culture is good that it's there. It's very good for bonding, and it's very good for what it does. But it also does. It makes life easier. If you were going to get a drinking problem, you're probably going to get one. But it's good that you've managed to rise above that. And because it's not always a nice story for some people, you know.
It was my kid. When my son was born, it was like, okay, I don't want to be like my old man. My old man was an even worse drinker than me. And it was like, I don't want him to be seeing me, drunk all the time. And it was just, I don't need it. I'll still have I've gotten drunk a few times over the years. He's seen me drunk. I've had beers and that in front of him. I don't tell him that alcohol is bad, but I just say it can, for the right person or for the wrong person, it's not good, not a good mix. But yeah, I don't like that alcohol dependency. And I even struggle to watch people do drinking streams. It's just no, I'd rather be in control.
Yeah, I don't think that's a great idea. Drinking streams. I think it's like gambling. I think gambling's been banned now, hasn't it? You can't do gambling streams anymore. But
no,
I think drinking streams aren't good.
It needs to be a US approved or like a US sanctioned gambling site. So these dodgy ones that are based on some little island in the middle of buttfuck nowhere, where it's probably dodgy as hell. You can't do those, but you can with registered American gambling casinos or something like that. So I don't know how that works. I'm not interested in them. I don't like them. But yeah.
Yeah, man. No, I agree.
Why DayZ and not Armour?
So I started with Armour. And I played a lot of Armour. But I picked up DayZ, and I started on the Armour 3 DayZ mod, and then got standalone, and it kind of drew me in because we briefly discussed this as well. Armour is great as a military simulator for large scale operations. If you play an Armour game and it's done well, like Karma Cut runs these sort of milsim servers, and he does these large scale operations. That is exactly how a military operation will go down. All the moving parts, it feels exactly the same. It runs the right way. But actually playing it, you don't feel like you're there. You don't feel like a soldier. And
when you've done the real thing, it kind of feels, and this is no offense, I love what some of these guys do with their Armour, and Squad's another amazing game. But when you've actually done the real thing, it feels a bit cheesy doing it in a video game. Do you feel the
Yeah,
same?
it's maybe not so cheesy, but it doesn't feel legit.
Yeah.
Whereas you talked about Squad, dude, I fucking love Squad, man. Like I play Squad, and I'm like the fucking hairs stand up on the back of my neck when you get like fucking incoming, and like you can see the tracer, and the guy gets the belt fed, and it's kicking off, and you can see the tracers going out bouncing. It's like, mate, I feel like I'm fucking back in the army. Like this is
The
awesome.
sound of
And the
some of
same
those
with
grenades.
yeah, man. Like it's like so it's fucking awesome. Like you feel
Zulu
so
got
in
it
there.
right in chat there. Because no one wants to sit in a 30-minute pre-mission briefing for video games. It doesn't
You're right.
translate well.
No one wants to do it in real life either, bro. I remember being sat there and they're like, hey, they'd turn to you and they're like, what is 2-section doing? And I'll be like, fuck knows, man. I've not been listening. I stopped listening when you told me what I was going to do. I was like, I don't know what 2-section's up to, man. So, yeah, I feel you completely. But yeah, like, I feel like.
The thing for me with DayZ, that one of the things that I crave from it is that 0 to 100.
Yes, man. Yeah.
That's what separates DayZ from a game like Arma. Arma, you're still doing that, the pre-mission briefing, and you're going out and you're looking for a contact, and you're kind of waiting for it. PUBG to a lesser extent has the same sort of thing. You can spend 5 minutes without seeing someone. Usually, especially the way I play, I try to land away from people, get enough gear so I'm geared up before I end up in a firefight. I don't hot drop because I suck at PvP. I need to rely on my tactics and being slow and cautious. But DayZ, you could be jogging along, have spent an hour without, and then all of a sudden, bang, someone shoots at you, and your heart rate goes up. Your butthole clenches, and yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So like, I love zombie movies and stuff, man. I love it. And so DayZ is like the perfect balance for me. I love it, man. It's like, and like we spoke about being a sniper, you need to be self-sufficient. And I enjoy jumping into that zombie environment, right, where you've got, it's post-apocalypse. You don't know how well you come across someone, you don't know whether it's going to turn into a shootout or they're going to help you. That ambiguity is good, and also just the feeling of you're constantly needing to be one step ahead and relying on your own wits, and it's just like we said, there's nothing like it. I don't think there's nothing like it.
Now
DayZ's great for complacency. Yeah, man, you're right. It's so easy to pick these people off because complacency kills, man.
Well, like
you got a great saying: danger never takes a day off.
Where you were talking about movement, and if I think I'm okay to be walking here, I should be crawling. If I think I'm okay to be crawling, so basically that one step down sort of thing. Yeah, and that actually resonated with me, and I've been thinking about it, and I've actually changed my play style a bit. Normally I was very complacent. I would just run across open areas, and now I'm following tree lines. I'm going in more into dead ground and stuff like that. But yeah, you still find yourself. It's just a video game. I'm just gonna run. Oh crap! I'm being shot at. Or you're off in another moment. You're listening to a YouTube video, or maybe you're listening to the 87.8 Survivor FM DayZ podcast with Lad, Cobra, and Lemons. Check it out every Friday night, 2000 or 2100 Greenwich Mean Time. Definitely check them out. They're awesome guys. They're really awesome. But yeah,
I can vouch for that. I've heard it's pretty good.
It's even better now that that Gap 2 fucking idiots off. But yeah, but no, it's amazing that heart rate. That is, it's such a craving for me to get that. When you've been in those life or death situations, there's almost an addiction to it. And you yourself, you went back to a hostile country, but you see so many ex-servicemen who when they get out, they miss it and they either sign back up or they go on to contractor work.
Yes, mate. There's a lot of people who get out and go into contract work. Like I said, it's what I did. It's what I still do. Although I do more UK based stuff now. Contract work is almost like the natural progression. When you're feeling frustrated, so I was frustrated with the military and the deployments I was getting on. Afghanistan was a very frustrating time for me. It was kind of the time when the Taliban were being invited back to the table for the handover, and it was a very frustrating time. So it was, it was frustrating. So it's like the natural progression when you still enjoy going away. It's great, contract work, and it pays a hell of a lot better than the army, man.
Oh yeah, the army doesn't pay that well. Like field allowance, overseas allowance, all those sorts of things, they add up. But compared to the money some of these private firms are offering, it's insane.
It's fucking crazy, man. I've never seen money like it.
It's also a lot of corruption, and a lot of cowboy operators get in. A lot of people lie about their service, or their capabilities.
The biggest thing for me is the pay relates because you are on your own. When you're in the army and you go somewhere, especially the British military, you've got the full force of NATO behind you, and if you get in the shit, someone is going to come and get you out of it. Like, it doesn't matter how bad it is, and they might arrive late, but someone is going to come and get you. Like, if there was something happened many years ago, and a British soldier left, he just walked out of his compound in Afghanistan, and he went what's called man away, so he was missing. He just got up, walked out of his compound in the middle of the night. And that went up over the net. The US had gunships up. They were flying around in helicopters looking for him. Unfortunately, he was captured and killed. But that's a whole other story. But someone is coming to get you. When you're a contractor, mate, you're just a fucking guy, man. Like, if you get kidnapped, took off to Pakistan, mate, no one is coming to get you, and that company will not give a fuck. And that's why you get paid the big bucks, because you're on your own. Yep.
Absolutely. You got plans to go back and do any more of that sort of work, or?
No, like I said, man, I've got kids and that, and I do more UK based stuff now. So I do private security for a family in London at the minute. So I stopped contracting right after the golden age of contracting. $600 a day was great. Went down to 300, mate. It's gone down more than that now, brother. I know guys who are on about £180 a day in Baghdad. So yeah, contracting used to be awesome. And when I was in Ukraine, the money was fucking good, but it's certainly going down. But yeah, like I said, I do more UK based stuff now. You can make just as good of money, looking after the rich and famous as you can from going to war zones. It's just not as exciting.
Look after Prince Harry, eh?
Yeah, well, not, yeah. Don't know about that, but maybe I'm not that good, but yeah.
A lot of people don't realise he was actually a platoon commander in infantry at one stage there as well. Most people know he was an Apache pilot or co-pilot, but they don't realise he actually commanded a platoon of infantry for a while there as well.
Yeah, so I'm fairly certain he was a JTAC as well. So if you listen to Jocko Willink's podcast with the SBS operator Dean Stott, he talks about doing the JTAC course, and Prince Harry is on that JTAC course. He said how they did the course together.
Yeah.
Prince Harry's a fucking good guy, despite what issues he may have with the public and his wife and the royal family. Like, he's a good guy, and yeah, he was a credit to the army. He really was.
Yeah, it's kind of sad everything that's happened there, mate.
It is.
He was the chosen one. I think he was everyone's favourite royal because he was a bit of a lad, bit of a character. His whole Nazi costume party thing was probably not the smartest move, but I thought it was hilarious.
I thought it was funny as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it was not the smartest thing for a royal to do, but it wasn't the end of the fucking world, people. He just wore a costume. And the night out, he had the hookers and all the rest of it at that hotel in fucking New Vegas or whatever it was, Las Vegas.
What's the point of being a prince if you can't enjoy it,
Yeah. But it's kind of sad to see the way it's gone all downhill. The worst part for me is, the two brothers don't seem to be getting along well now, which is
it's sad.
Fucking sad.
You don't want to see that about any brothers, do you?
There's Prince Andrew. He must just be sitting there fucking going, thank God, Harry. Thank God you've taken some of the heat off of me.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole nother kettle of worms, like, oh, Jesus, man.
He doesn't sweat, apparently, from the PTSD of the Falklands.
Fucking hell, I've never heard that before, but
No,
I've never heard that being a side effect of PTSD. Fuck me.
If anything, it's the other way around. PTSD makes you sweat like
makes
a
you sweat more, yeah.
Yeah.
Fireworks go off and suddenly you look like you're running a fucking half marathon.
Well, it comes back to something, I don't know whether we were live when we talked about this whole new generation of all these Russians, and I imagine that's probably happening the other way as well. Who are going to have fucking PTSD from hearing drones. Jeez,
One day Amazon's going to be delivering packages with drones, and some of these poor Russians are going to be fucking shitting themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a famous song here in Australia. I was only 19. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
No, I don't think so.
No, it's about a Vietnam vet. I was only 19. A walk in the long green or the long. I can't remember the rest of it, but it's basically to do with the map color for long grass. The famous line is why the Channel 7 chopper chills me to my feet. Channel 7 chopper is a news chopper here in Australia, and that's going to get redone to why the bloody Amazon drone chills me to my feet. Because that's just fuck me, man. War just evolved like this with what's happening in Ukraine at the moment. Everyone's watching it. There's a lot of people talking about is the age of the tank over with the success that the javelins are having. That's an old fucking piece of tech as well. That's just been upgraded, but it is just absolutely destroying.
I was in Irpin, and I was at that famous street Irpin, for those of you watching who don't know where that is in North Kiev, so northwest Kiev, which is the capital of Ukraine. And I've seen that famous street. I've been there. That famous street with all the tanks all charred down that street, and I have never fucking seen anything like that in my life. It was like melted tanks. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Tanks have historically not always done great in the urban environment because, a dedicated individual can kill a tank, if you can get close enough. So they are better for long-range engagements.
Saving Private Ryan. Yeah, you don't need to actually physically destroy the whole tank. You just need to immobilize
you just need to kill people inside, yeah. So it's, but to see just entire tank columns just melted, it was like fucking crazy. And that's kind of one of the reasons I never wanted to go be a pilot or in a tank or in an armored vehicle or on a ship. I was always like, you're just sitting there, you're a waiting target, man.
Yes.
When I'm on my feet, I know what I'm doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Like the Navy in particular, mate. Fuck that. Fuck that shit. Even
anyone who can watch Pearl Harbor and join the Navy afterwards, you're a fucking madman.
Yeah. Yep. When you're just one part of, and I have massive respect for him, but when you're just one part of that machine, whereas technically as a soldier, you're still on the ground, but when shit goes pear-shaped, you've still got your gun, you're still an effective fighting unit. When shit goes pear-shaped and you're on a ship or in a plane or in a tank, the chances of you surviving it are very slim.
That's it. And I know I'm in control. I know I can go left, I can go right, I can duck, I can get up. Yep. Sat in the back of a tank, man, you just got to hope your driver's not fucking being complacent or whatever, or, he makes the right decision and you just kind of sat there waiting for it to go wrong.
Yeah.
It's just, not a nice feeling.
No, not at all. Mate, on that topic, what do you think of the changes to DayZ, like with the vehicles, with the Humvee in particular, a bit more of an armored vehicle coming in?
So I like the changes. I think this update definitely is going in the right way. I haven't actually managed to get a Humvee myself yet and play around with it. I heard that apparently only the windows are bulletproof. Is that right?
Yes, which doesn't make sense to me.
Right. But I do like the way they're going, and I think it's definitely a step in the right direction, in my opinion. It's not like you got a BMP and it's kind about just with a 50 cal on top and it's just slapping freshies on the shore, but it's certainly
that would be kind of funny though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because that's what's going to happen, man. If they put a BMP in, someone's going to get it and he's going to drive to the shore and he's just going to drive up and down the shore abusing freshborns.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's too bad. I quite like it. I like it.
What about
How about yourself?
What about the Thumper, the M79?
I quite like it. I think it's cool. Like again, I haven't actually managed to get my hand on it, but I don't see anything in the update that is taking DayZ away from being DayZ, if you know what I mean. I think it all fits within the theme and the feel of DayZ. There's nothing in the update that, for me personally, there may be people who disagree, that it's like, well, this is DayZ, this isn't Armor. I don't see anything that takes it away. What about you? How do you feel about it?
I'm bemused by the setup of it. as you said, bulletproof glass, and it was like, okay, yeah, that's a bit strange. The armor is a bit more of when the bullets start flying, you don't want to be behind the glass. The glass can only ever be so strong. The armor, on the other hand, that's a bit better. You want to get down behind that. I've never driven in Humvees, and the Australian military vehicles I drove in were just soft skins. But we did have the M113 APCs. Even that could technically be pierced by a large enough caliber rifle at the right angle. Any sort of rocket launcher would fuck up an M113. But yeah, I personally like it. I think it's a good addition. Bit bemused by the specs of it. Bit disappointed when I did get one going. It just died on me because they were buggy as fuck when they first come out, and I haven't managed to get one going since. And I just can't be bothered launching a test server. But the other one I wanted to ask you about was how exciting was it for Claymores to be added?
So Claymores they're they're a fun bit of kit. When you set them off in real life, you're like, holy shit! I did not think it was going to be that big.
Does it annoy you the way they implemented them?
So the thing is, I don't think you could ever realistically translate the use of a claymore to a video game without it being boring as fuck. So for those of you watching who don't know, all Western nations, US, Australian, British, you're banned from using what's called victim-operated weapon systems. So pressure plates, claymores, tripwires, they're illegal. You cannot use them because anyone could set them off. A kid could walk in and set it off, and that would be bad. So you can only ever activate a claymore by yourself. And I think setting up a claymore, crawling back, hiding the wire, and lying there with a clacker, waiting for somebody to come across is going to be boring. So I get how just having stuff like landmines and stuff like that is okay. But yeah, I think to pull it off realistically would be very difficult and quite boring. And everything's got to be a bit gamey, but yeah.
Yeah, I just would have liked to have seen there actually be a detonator involved as well. And maybe had that as a separate source, because it kind of when you've used claymores, they come kit complete. They come with the clacker, they come with the cable. The only thing it doesn't come with is the detonator, and the reason for that is you don't store detonators with explosives.
You never store ammunition and weapons and detonators and
just
explosives.
The claymore
recipe for disaster.
You could pretty much shoot a claymore with a rifle and it's not going to go bang. A lot of people don't understand how plastic explosives work, and I was lucky enough to get to do an assault pioneer course in the army, and was one of my favorite courses of all time. Oh my god, I got to blow some shit up. That reminds me, I'm coming dangerously close to talking about something that I've said I'll do for a special occasion one day. Why I got sent to military prison. Yes, I did 14 days in the Defence Force Correctional Establishment, followed by 14 days confined to base, or ROPs, restrictions of privileges as we call them. So almost a month.
Yeah, we got the same. Robs.
Yeah, yep. But that's a story I'm saving for a special occasion. I might have to make a target or something like that, and when we get it, I'll tell everyone. All I can say is thank God I did what I did pre 9/11. But you mean stuff like how the gas tanks in Hollywood movies, yeah. But so like even plastic explosive, you can put a flame to it and it burns fucking insanely, but it doesn't explode. You need special circumstances like that fucking that hangar somewhere in the Middle East that was that warehouse that was full of the old fertilizer, and it had just deteriorated to a point.
Fuck, man, what an explosion.
Oh my god, that was scary. And for those who don't know, that's basically what Timothy McVeigh used on the FBI building there in America. They call it ANFO, ammonium nitrate fuel and oil. That's something I would give my left nut for them to add that into DayZ, because that would be, they've already got oil, for the cars, which isn't implemented, but it's already an item in the game files. You've got fuel from the petrol stations, and you've got fertilizer, and you could use that to make improvised explosives in the game, which I would love to see. But yeah, it just kind of
absolutely. You
me
could make some. You could make some IEDs.
Detonator.
Yeah, IEDs would be a cool step. I think you could get some IEDs, and then maybe you could, if you went and got nails, you could increase the blast radius. So for a lot, if people were watching, they don't really understand how explosives work. The explosion is genuinely
we are so
not
getting
really that big.
demonetized this episode now.
Okay, yeah, probably. Sorry, but a grenade doesn't just blow you up. It has lots of tiny fragmentation balls, and those are basically propelled at a large, at a very fast speed and a wide range. That basically turns you into Swiss cheese, and that is what kills people. So yeah, like you put IEDs, you put nails in, and that could increase the blast radius because obviously it's exploding the nails outward rather than just the explosion. Yeah. Maybe we are. I'm teaching people how to make bombs. Yeah, we should stop.
But yeah, no, the Claymore being added, despite the fact that the implementation's a bit meh, I love it because already we've seen some amazing examples of, I think TRMZ's one where he was on the moleskin. He had the two guys in the room and he just put the Claymore at the door, opened the door, and then pressed the clacker, and it went off. And whilst he was very close to it, again, what a lot of people don't realise, he was in real life. It's not recommended to be that close to a Claymore, but Claymores are a directional weapon. We don't call them a mine. We would call them a weapon because basically that's what it is. It's just a massive shotgun shell that.
Yeah, they are horrendous. They are.
They
you
make
do not
a
want to be
big
on the other side of that.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be as close as Paul was to that one when it went off in real life, but technically it's possible. Yeah,
absolutely front facing. Yeah,
that's only for the Americans. Us Poms and Aussies don't need that. We know which way. Front towards enemy. I always loved that. It was like, yeah, that's brilliant.
The thing is, everything in the military has like a stupid instruction on it. Like, guide. You're like, yeah, you need to be. You can pick it up, pick most things up, and make sure it works because so. Most things have like front facing. This is the direction the missile comes out and stuff. Point towards enemy. It's got to be the most. You got the most stupid, uneducated infantryman who cannot read or write needs to be able to pick it up and use it. So it's
They have to army proof it. So I'm guessing Zulu was a Marine.
Yeah, army proof it.
Yeah. Oh God, that's awesome. But no, I do in general. I love the implementation of how they've got most things in DayZ. I don't know whether you watched the PvP debate I had with Minder and a few others, but
I didn't manage to catch it. No.
One of the things I've always loved is that we were talking about the chest, the plate protectors, and again, you've got to remember it's game mechanics. But did you ever get shot?
No, I've never been hit, but a friend of mine did. He was shot in the plate, in the front plate by a PKM machine gun.
What did it do to him?
The chest. So it put him down, but so I think it broke a couple of his ribs.
Yep.
So I wasn't there. This was actually before I was in. But he was shot in the chest, and he said the guy behind him said he made a really weird noise. He kind of went like, ugh, and then he shot back. I think he thinks he got him because there were some drag marks and blood marks. Anyway, we will get demonetized. But yeah, and then he kind of like dropped. But he didn't know he'd made the noise, so he kind of felt like he'd been punched, got some rounds off, and then kind of like fell over. But yeah, it completely shattered the plate. Shattered the plate. You were not taking more than one or two of those things.
Yeah. Yep. Because they don't like the fact that a Mosin can one shot knock a person at fairly close range, and I was like, guys, that's actually.
Right, I'm telling you now, 7.62 is a big round. I know it's like in video games, it's like, oh, you can have 7.62 is big. Like 5.56 is designed to maim, so it's designed to enter the body, bounce around the body, and maim the individual because it takes more than one person out the fight. You then need two people to Kazovac that one person. 7.62 is designed to fucking kill you. It is a big round, and if you get hit with 7.62, it's going to leave a big hole, and if you've got armor on, it's going to put you down, and anything larger than that is going to blow a hole in it. So when I was in Afghanistan, we had armored vehicles, and I think they said 12.7 will go straight through that armored glass like butter.
That's the Russian equivalent of 50 cal, folks.
Yeah, so 12.7 is another way of measuring a 50 caliber round. So that will go through it like hot knife through butter. It will not stop it in the slightest. But obviously you need larger weapons to fire 12.7. So 7.62 will be stopped, but it'll only stop a few. If you put a whole mag into an armored glass window, it'll go through, unless it's like the U.S. president's windshield. Most armored cars, if you stood on the bonnet and dumped a whole mag of 30 into it, a few of them will go through.
Yeah. Yep. What's your favorite weapon in DayZ?
It depends, doesn't it? Because it depends on what you see by.
Okay, you're a sniper. What's your favorite weapon for sniping?
So for me personally, I love the Mosin, man. You can't beat it. It's OG, mate.
Have you ever fired one IRL?
I've never fired a Mosin in real life, no.
Oh, you need to get over somewhere and do it, mate. My son's got one. He got a Finnish one, and it's an actual sniper model of it as well. Just has a little S on it somewhere. And it's got the PU scope on it, and we're still trying to work out how to properly mount the PU scope. But mate, they are. I understand why the Mosin is so well regarded. It is just such a beautiful weapon to fire. The iron sights on it, they just are so nice to use, and the PU scope just takes it to another level. Just put that little pointer on the target, and oh my god, it is such a good rifle to shoot.
That's why I like the Mosin. Even without a scope, you can be really deadly with it because the sight picture is so clear. We tested 50 cal, and it takes 4 level 4 plates to stop the bullet, and still gets shot, and 6 to stop it, and you're perfectly fine. So yeah, if you got some level 4 plates in, and you took 4 50 cal shots, you're going to be in a bad way, brother.
Good luck moving with 4 plates in, though.
Yeah, true.
You're not going to be moving very fast, so you're kind of going to be a bit like Ned Kelly. Yeah, you might be able to stand there, but it's highly unlikely your legs are going to be protected as well. So, yeah. But yeah, no. So the Mosin.
Yeah, I love the Mosin. It's got such a nice sight picture. Although I have to say, one of the nicest sounding sniper rifles I've used is on one of the modded servers. It's the Barrett. I can't remember which mod it comes from anyway, but the sound that thing makes when it goes off is beautiful. I fired a Barrett in real life, and the sound that thing makes is just beautiful.
in chat wanted to know what was your issue sniper that you used.
So the sniper rifle I used throughout my time in the military was the Lapua Magnum 338.
Yep.
It's got some designated. I can't even remember off the top of my head. God, it's amazing how quickly this leaves you. It's like the L119 or something. But it's the Arctic Warfare Lapua Magnum 338, and then the number 2 would have a sort of sharpshooter rifle, which is, I can't remember off the top of my head. It's an M4 platform, and it's the sharpshooter rifle, and that's the sniper rifle I used. But when I've gone and used other weapons with other nations and stuff, I fired the Barrett on the range. I fired the Dragunov on the range in Iraq, and also I've had a little play. I didn't get to fire it, but I have a little play with the Canadian Timberwolf as well.
Never got to fire a sniper rifle, but I did get to fire a 50 cal. But it was a machine gun, and it was off the side of the ship that was taking us over to Somalia. And yeah, it's quite beautiful, the feel of a 50 cal firing, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's they say you're not a man until you fired it 50 cal. Yeah, it's.
I still remember holding the handles, and you got the little butterfly trigger on it, and just the vibration just goes through your entire body right down to your toes. Just doof, 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 doof. It's just the most. It's
So
I know when I guns are a very contentious topic, but man, I love shooting guns. I really do. It's a fun hobby.
Yeah, man.
And there's something about getting yourself in sync with the weapon.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember when I fired. So when I fired the 338, used to fire the 338, and they say you need to have double hearing protection. So you need to have the earbuds in, and then on top of that, you need to have your peltors or your headset, which amplifies small sounds and lowers loud sounds. I can't think of the word now. Like in Tarkov, you get your headsets and stuff. You need to have them on as well. So, and I was like, yeah, whatever. And I used to fire the 338 with just my peltors on, never used to bother me. And then I fired the 50 cal, and I was like, holy shit, I wish I had double hearing protection in.
Yeah.
Fucking loud, man.
My main speciality was a mortarman, so I really understand the need for good hearing protection. Like
mortars are cool as fuck, man.
Mortars are the fucking, no pun intended, mortars are the bomb.
They are awesome. When you see mortars coming in, it's just like, that's fucking cool. You can wipe out whole grid squares with mortars, man. They are
and they're
cool
very accurate. That's what a lot of people don't realize. They're very fucking accurate. We used to always be because mortars were an infantry controlled weapon. The artillery in the Australian Army only has artillery pieces, 105s, 155s, and whatever else they had. But we used to take great pride in the fact that we could have rounds on target before them because they're slower. Whereas we were quick, we were mobile. For us to set up, if we were in vehicles, for us to set up and get bedded, they're still fucking trying to get their guns in position.
What vehicles do you have? Do you have the Wimmicks? Do you have the Wimmicks?
No, mate, we just had Sixpies, 6-wheel drive, basically four-wheel drive patrols and that, with a trailer on the back which had all the ammo and extra stuff in it.
Man.
Well,
so we're the same in the British Army. I think the maximum they have up to infantry held is maybe 120. Don't quote me on that. Maybe 120 mil. And then obviously, like you said, the Royal Artillery has the large scale guns, artillery guns.
Yeah.
But same in house, you would have everything. So the infantry platoons would carry a 60 mil. It's changed now, but when I was in the infantry platoons, they would have a 60 mil held integrally within the platoon, and then you'd have a mortar platoon which had upwards of 60 to 120, 80, 88 mil and stuff like that.
We were always 80. We were just the 81 millimeters. And being
81,
being in Australia, we were cheap bastards, and the barrels I was using in the mid 90s were the same barrels that the guys were using in Vietnam. Which is kind of iconic because the battalion's biggest battle that they were ever involved in was one where the mortar platoon got really into the thick of it. If you ever want a good breed, look up the Battle of Fire Support Base Coral Balmoral. It's a really sad story. Some idiot decided to put mortars on the perimeter.
Yeah, not nice, man. Not nice. They are. I believe. Don't quote me on this, but I believe a mortar platoon makes up 60% of a battalion's firepower. So 60% of all firepower.
So much now. Over here in Australia, mate, the weapons that the guys have got at their disposal, 40 mil grenade launchers and the automatic Mark IIs, are they? I think the 40 mil grenade launchers. And the heavy weapons platoon or direct fire support weapons, we used to call them. I don't know what they are now, but Jesus, they've got some good shit these days. And mortars are still running around with their 81 millimeter mortars.
I was in a light roll infantry unit, so we didn't have vehicles. So yeah, you're probably right. With the larger mechanized infantry units, you're probably right. You got mounted grenade launchers, HMGs. But in my unit, unless you could carry it, it wasn't getting brought. So you had some very angry and bitter old mortarmen carrying their base plates. I think the only time we got vehicles was for long moves, and they would bring the ammunition to the mortar lines in vehicles because, dude, you're not carrying all them.
No, we used to divvy it out amongst the rifle companies, and when we would set up, all the rifle companies would come by on the few times we didn't get to take our vehicles, and every bloke would be given one round to carry. Mark 19, that's it. Thank you, Zuli. The Mark 19 grenade launcher, but no, they've got some really cool shit these days. Yeah, you see a lot of people talking about there are servers that have implemented, the 50 cals and the Lapuas and all the rest of it.
I think Rearmed is probably one of the ones that has the most weapons, I believe. Rearmed DayZ servers, they're definitely up there with the heavy amount of weapons.
I kind of like it to be kept simple. I think that there's, yes, it's fun to go and play on those servers and grab the scars and all these other sort of things. But, if anything, I would like to see more civilian weapons and more lower cal weapons because there's already enough military style weapons in DayZ. Yes, you could argue that you could add more, but it's a zombie apocalypse. I'd like to see some
unpopular opinions soon.
Yeah,
I'm definitely on board with you there. I think DayZ needs to, in some ways, regress a little. I think there needs to be some work done on the zombies, and I think there needs to be less focus on
militarization.
PvP. Your militarization. It's not Tarkov. It's DayZ, and it's not armor. And I think a great addition I would love to see would be bows and arrows and crossbows.
Yes.
I believe they were in
Yes,
DayZ right at the start,
yes,
and they were took out. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
We never had actual like compound bows, but we always had the improvised bow and arrow. Don't quote me on that, but we did have crossbows, and they were pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, so that's what I'd like to see, and I'd like to see some rework on the zombies. I think in some ways they're ridiculously strong, and in other ways they're just not a threat. You can just round up a couple of them, lock them in the barracks, and carry on looting.
Yeah.
And I think it's supposed to be a post-apocalyptic environment. You're running through Chernobyl, and there's like 10 zombies on the streets. You can spawn them, but they don't work. Oh, I never knew that. It's pretty interesting. But yeah, it's like I would love to see hordes. Like I said, I'm a massive zombie fan, so I'd love to see hordes of zombies in the streets. And it's like maybe there's like more at night than there is in the day, and you can't go out. You're like trying to cut across the street through Cherno and Electro would be like virtually impossible because of the level of their art. I'd like to see him break down doors, and then you would need to have you'd need to build up your base and reinforce it so they can't break in.
That does the door breaking, and it's fucking. I joined a server and I didn't know they had that mod on there, and it was the first time I was aware of the mod, but I'd forgotten about it. And I run into a building and I shut the door behind me, and then I start hearing this banging on the door, and I'm like, what the fuck? And yeah, zombie fucking opened the door. And I was like, that is cool as fuck. They got to add that to vanilla DayZ.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I feel like you need to have more of a survival focus on DayZ rather than the first person shooter that they try and make out that it is. I know it might be an unpopular opinion, but it's one I have. Maybe it's just because I'm getting older and I enjoy taking my time a bit more now. You know what I mean? I don't enjoy running around and just waxing people with all my mill gear. It's like I kind of get a bit bored once I've hit the point where I've kind of looted the military bases. I tend to like swap servers and go and play something else. Like I enjoy the initial struggle and the initial being self-sufficient in DayZ. And then when I get to the point where I'm like, yeah, this is a bit of a breeze now, and it gets to the point like teaming up and stuff. That's kind of when I hop servers.
PvP gets a bit boring after a while. It does for me.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Like I suck at it now. I didn't used to. I used to be okay, but I suck at it now. But it's the interaction stuff. Like I've started a trader faction on the server I'm on because there's no traders you can go to and buy and sell stuff. And right outside my base, I've set up I've got 3 improvised shelters. I made a little stone fireplace, and I'm keeping it stocked with food, and it's right near Geraldtown in Livonia. So it's a fairly PvP sort of area, but I just wanted to do something different. And all I do is I run around and hunt animals and get shot at by people occasionally, and my base has been raided once, but I'm just enjoying because so many people, even on that server, are just running around and all they're interested in is raiding and PvP. But there are other people, there are so many. I put a post up just saying, if anyone wants to be involved in a trader faction, send me a message. And I've had a few people reach out. They're like, I play solo. And I went, that's perfect, mate. You can still keep on playing solo. You're welcome to jump in when we're on and run with us if you want. But it just gives you a purpose that isn't just run and kill everything. It's...
absolutely.
I love the loot and the survival aspect.
Yeah, I think I was watching your podcast. His name escapes me. Is it Archie? Is that right? Is that his name?
Archie,
yes, that's the one. And he was saying he made a good point about how a lot of people are coming over from console, and they're not using VoIP. They're talking in Discord, and they're just running around. They're just killing everybody, and he raised a good point, and it's like those interactions are quite scarce, and it is very PvP heavy. And I think, I don't know, it's a hard one. I guess if you made survival a little bit harder, you would probably increase the PvP because resources are more scarce and surviving is a bit more scarce. But I don't know. It's an interesting discussion to talk about the future of DayZ and what's the best route to take on it. Do you want to just make it uber militaristic like something like Tarkov, or do you want to go back to more survival routes where people you have some more positive interactions and it's a little bit harder to get that high tier loot? So I don't know what decision is which is the right to take for Bohemia, but
I have faith in them, and I know a lot of people don't. Some people say I lick their ass and all the rest of it. I don't think we do. We're fans, and we've done some work with them. But when we don't agree with stuff that they do, we say it. But at the same time, I like the direction the game is heading. The additions to little things here and there. I know some of it's upset some people, but I like the fact that they're not just turning it into a milsim PvP shooter. That they're adding some, the stuff that got added with temperatures. For the mollusk was next level for me. The frostbite. I'd love to see that sort of feature come across.
I'm honestly surprised we've not had another DLC. I think we're very lucky. We're very lucky. You just buy DayZ and you're pretty much good to go. The amount of mods you can go, and these guys don't make any money off modded stuff. All these stuff that keeps the game alive. Bohemia don't make any money off of. So, it's literally being kept alive, and they're not getting any payment for it.
They kind of do because they see videos like Frankie on PCs, which is done using a lot of mods and stuff like that, which gets people in. But it kind of worries me because a lot of people see these videos and think that's what DayZ is going to be like. They join an official server, and there's none of that.
Yeah, yeah. I suppose you are right. It is like free advertising, but in terms of if this was another game, you'd be paying for all of these.
Yes.
Look what fucking Skyrim and that. So they tried to make you buy mods on that. It's a very predatory industry, the gaming industry, and I think we're very lucky to have a developer that isn't worried about monetizing everything.
And modders who, for the most part, do what they do out of passion. More of them need to set up Patreons and learn how to do YouTube so they can start making some money to support.
100%.
But the modders are the true heroes, and the map makers, include the map makers, followed by the server admins. There are some communities out there that aren't the most scrupulous. They're rather unscrupulous, but for the most part, server admins, even if they are making a few quid, the well-run servers, like my mate Spud with DayZ Down Under, him and his admin team, every update, these guys are taking days off work to prepare and make sure they're going to be available for the inevitable shitstorm that happens once a patch goes live.
100%. It's literally like a second job for some of these guys. And Zulu, you're right. Community modding was the best move DayZ could have made. Absolutely, it saved DayZ, and those mods give the devs the breathing room is between.
They focus on the stable platform, a relatively stable platform that is unintended game feature free as much as possible. But yeah. They do an amazing job. They really do. A lot of people say, DayZ, where the modders have to do the work for them. Guys,
I think that's very
fucking history. That's how fucking BI's pretty much always operated. They create a base game and they let the modders fill in the blanks.
Yeah, I mean, look at Armor. They're sandbox games, right? The modders don't keep the game alive. It's given to you in this way so that you can have fun with it. It's not. They don't just make a game and expect you to fix it. It's given to you in this way. It's like here's the game, here's the sandbox, here's the mechanics. You have fun with it.
Mike, with Alex being from the UK, mate, you might actually be understood if you were in this one. So. Yeah, maybe we do need more Mike Doherty. Mike's Scottish. And one of the funniest things about him was we loved taking the piss out of him for his Scottish accent. And he was actually on the PvP debate with us. And he said he was actually having to tone his Scottish accent down deliberately so that he could be understood by us. But yeah, no, I 100% agree, mate. I 100% agree that community modding, it's the backbone of this and some other games out there as well. That these people do it, and I love seeing some of these modders be able to make some money. That's probably my only issue is BI makes it a bit hard for them to actually make some money from what they do, which is kind of sad. It's free reign for content creators, but when it comes to modders, there's this expectation that they do what they do out of love. which if they want to do it out of
And
love,
I think
yes.
there is an aspect of that. Like these guys are modern, but you're right. There needs to be more support. And I think there is massive support for these channels. So I started playing on a server the other day. It's the DayZ Epoch Reforged server. And I literally started playing on it a couple of days ago, and then I had the message come from the Discord that's closing down. The guy running it, he's like, "Look, I just cannot do this anymore. I can't keep it running. It's just a passion project, and it's just not working out." And the support he got was incredible. They all rallied behind it. They're like, "No, no, no, we'll take over. I'll take over. I'll keep this going." And now behind the scenes, I'm not sure the ins and outs of it. I just checked the Discord, saw it was closing, then came back, and actually someone else is going to take the reins. But the support was incredible, and I think modding and communities like are such a good part of DayZ and Armor as well. Like you said, yeah.
There can be some toxicity, but there's toxicity in every aspect of fucking life, whether you're joining a fucking Hello Kitty Island adventure group or whether you're in a mill sim game or whatever. But for the most part, the DayZ community is fucking amazing. And, you know, the debate I had with Mike and Minder and Kill Beans and Greedy Peasant was a great example of it. Most of us had completely different opposing views on stuff, but we were still able to have a civil discussion, contrary to what a lot of people think about us. But we were able to respectfully disagree and find common ground.
I think that's one of the best things about DayZ as well. Say you love the hardcore milsim PvP, and I love the survival aspect.
Yep.
There's servers for us both.
Yeah.
The same game, and everybody can play the way they want to play. And I think that's why I'm always drawn back to DayZ. You know, sometimes you get burnt out as you do with games and you go away, but you can play this game however you want to play. And I think that's one of the main attractions for people.
But never stop taking the piss out of each other. You know, I'll always tell Mike Doherty he's a try-hard COD boy, wannabe fucking PvP kitty, and he'll always tell me I'm an elitist fucking survival, immersion fucking wanker. But it's just for shits and giggles. At the end of the day, like you said, play your way, whatever turns you on. And if it isn't something that suits you, start a server.
That's it, man. That's it.
Yeah, my mate Dumpgra, he's a great example of someone who didn't know nothing about modding, and now he's one of the best modders in the DayZ community. He's got featured in the spotlight.
Yeah, and I think I was seeing some of the modders getting taken on by Bohemia, aren't they? Is that right?
Yeah, well, they took on Dancer Jesus, so that was awesome. He's now doing the map stuff as well. Livonia was his first. The bit of a rework of Churnerus. Where is it? No, not Nadbor. The town just below Berezino. The rework of that, and then the work with Livonia. What do you think of Livonia?
I like Livonia. Do you know, I like Livonia. It's slowly becoming one of my favourite maps.
Nedzino, thank you. That's it. That was the name.
My favourite map is Namalsk for the survival aspect. I fucking love Namalsk. Namalsk is fucking awesome, bro. But Livonia is slowly becoming my new, definitely up there. It's a very simple route. It's a very simple map to play. I feel sometimes Churnerus can quite often be a little stale depending on how you play it. The shoreline can quite often be quite empty, and then the higher up you get, obviously the more PvP interaction and that kind of thing comes along. Whereas I feel like in Livonia, you just kind of spawn in and you just walk the river, and you just you could walk the river. Like say you wanted to make those hour-long content videos that we were talking about for DayZ, you could just walk up and down that river and you'd have that content there. I feel like you bump into a lot more people in Livonia than you do Churnerus, and it is a little bit smaller and stuff, and the loot runs might not be its best, but and like they've just added all these bunkers and stuff. I've still not managed to get into one. I've not been able to play DayZ too much. Real life's been getting in the way the past few weeks. But
one of the things I like about Livonia is you said with Churnerus being a bit stale. Now, I need to hang on. Switch to this one. God damn it. How do I make it so that I'm not in my... I'm trying to go into... We'll just call it test and see if that gets rid of everything. Nope, all my markers are still there. Fuck you. Okay, so just imagine Chernerus. Pretty much everyone always ends up in that top northwest corner. Is the eventual progression, because nearly everything of note is in that top northwest corner. One of the beautiful things about Livonia is it's all spread out along that southern half.
Yes, it is. And I feel like it's so. This is why I actually started playing that DayZ epoch. It uses the old Armor 2 Chernerus map, so it doesn't have that top left bit. And it what it does is it forces a lot of more gameplay in the rest of the map, and I find it really interesting. You know, so many times I've spawned in on DayZ and found Cherno completely empty. There's nobody there. But when I'm playing on this server, these cities feel a lot more full because there is no top half of the map to just sprint up to.
Yeah, I just and you know the river is just kind of insanity. So if you really want a lot of action, a lot of interaction, hang around the spawn river, and you're guaranteed to run into some sort of madness. But once you start getting south, you know there was already a few places like I do agree that the forest area was a bit boring, but I didn't mind it. I liked going in there and just getting lost and using map and compass and in-game to navigate and stuff like that. But I'm an elitist. I like my immersion running along, and the GPS was a great addition as well. They could have implemented it where it was over the top, but yeah, if you've got all three things together, it shows you your location on the map, which I think is good, because you know that's 6 slots of inventory you're taking up with a compass, a map, and GPS, and you've got to make sure you've got a battery. So yeah, but now it's just they've added some nice locations down south, and you know, like I said, I've been hanging around Geraldtown, and I've been having a blast there. It's been amazing the amount of action happening around there.
Yeah, definitely.
And I've got to get over to Nadbor. I think Nadbor would be popping off as well now, with the quarry nearby, and still got the big military base, and then the big military base to the south of it as well. So, no, I'm loving the changes.
Yeah, you say Namalsk is your favorite map as well?
I love Namalsk as well, mate.
Namalsk is a perfect
just for me. It's the survival aspect of Namalsk. It is the perfect survival map. I think when you and I were chatting the other day, the beautiful thing about Namalsk is one of the problems DayZ's always had is why should people work together? Namalsk solved that. Every motherfucker's dying from the moment they spawn in. So everyone's trying to create a fire, and if you're playing on a high pop server, you just pray that there's someone died and spawned near you, so you can get a fire going quick enough together.
It's one of the only reasons and ways I think it's acceptable to just slaughter every fresh spawn you see, because it's like, mate, I'm starving and I know you've just spawned in with an apple and I'm gonna fucking take it from you.
Yeah, because there is still that element of it. You always get that one guy.
Yeah, there's still that.
Kill all you motherfuckers.
It's a fucking dog eat dog world, and you know, you've got what I need. Whereas I feel like on Chernerus, it's just like people just run up and down the coast killing fucking fresh spawns because they're dicks, but.
Yeah.
You know, in the mosque, there's a bit more of a reason, because it's like I may have gone and got this AK and I may have a bit more kit, but I'm still fucking starving.
Yep. Everything's frozen. You're constantly needing to light a fire just to be able to eat. And even when you get down south into the main area and that, unless you've taken a big load of food with you, at some point
you're going to starve to death.
Yeah. At some point, you're going to have to kill an animal.
I really like the fact that they've got stuff like the sub, which is a swim away, and you have to get wet and you have to get hot to get it to progress through the map. I really like that aspect. I think that's a really smart decision.
Light a fire before you get in the water so you don't take damage while you're in the water, and light a fire on the other side so you can defrost everything and thaw out and dry out your clothes. And it's just brilliantly done map. And it's such a pity that it didn't go to official so that the console people could get to play it as well.
Yeah, they're really missing out on.
I understand Adam had his reasons, but man, I do think that's just.
What was the reason? Because I've always wondered why it never went.
Don't know. He just wanted to keep it free.
He's got his reasons, and you keep your secrets.
Yep. And it's sad. It really is.
I've always wondered, like, if, I 100% promise you, if they brought out the Mouse DLC,
it would
even though it's free, I'd
sell
fucking
like
pay for it.
fucking
I'd pay for it.
yeah, 100% to support him.
100% I'd pay for it.
Yeah, I know.
100%.
I know a lot of people made donations to Adam to support him, and we did the PC fundraiser. The guy built that on a fucking laptop, mate.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, yeah. So a few of us got together and arranged to fundraise, and we bought him a decent PC. Helkiana was the main person behind that. She's an absolute legend, Helkiana.
Adam could be a fucking millionaire if that map was like 5. Like, mate, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I think I don't understand why Bohemia doesn't bring out another DLC. Like, surely the Livonia,
if they don't like money.
I know they're like the opposite of every other game development company.
Yeah, yeah.
I've always thought that it's because he uses a lot of stalker assets.
Yeah.
Possibly, yeah. But this is what I mean. If Bohemia took that, okay, and then they made their own assets to replace the stalker assets, they could sell that and they'd make fucking loads of money.
It would keep them.
It would keep money in the pipeline for DayZ, and then you don't have to get fucking DayZ 2 or whatever. But mate, I honestly think the mouse is amazing.
I would love to see what the sale of Livonia has been on console and also on PC with the update, because it was smart. It was smart of them to do the underground bunker on Livonia. I know a lot of people said they should have done it on Chernarus or something like that. From a business perspective, it was smart to do it on Livonia because
you got to think Livonia is you need to
Xbox
buy.
Playing it with the Game Pass, which that's a trickle of money coming in. But what's a great way to get more money out of people? Do a great update to Livonia, and they don't get Livonia with Game Pass. They've got to purchase the DLC. So
they already know they like it because they're playing it.
Yeah, so that's got to have brought some more money in for them, which was a smart business move.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think if you remade the mouse, minimize, and you got rid of the stalker assets, you made those assets from fresh, and you sold it as another DLC, I'd have no issue paying for it. I'm sure most people won't, because it is a lot of people are, it's their favorite map. Plus, it's in the snow. I feel like everything's just cooler in the snow, isn't it?
Yeah. 634,000 current subscribers to the Molsk. Wow. Like, even if you say 100,000 people would have bought it if it was a pay for, less than 20%, that's still a shit ton of money. But, respect to the guy for doing it. A passion project.
634,000 times 5. Yeah, he would have made 3.1 million if he sold that for $5 each.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
Well, you got taxes million. And BI would have taken their share of it and all the rest of it. But most likely it would have sold for $19.99. That sort of figure would have been.
Mate, the amount of time I've got on the mask, I've happily paid $19.99 for it. Happily.
Mate, the money I spent on DayZ back in the day, one of the best value games, the best value game I've ever owned. I was looking at my hours before, and across my 2 accounts, I'm over 10,000. Plus,
disgusting.
It is disgusting. I actually had a shot at my mate Fubar Bundy. When I was looking at my profile, it showed all my other friends on there, and he's only got less than 4,000 hours. So I screenshotted that and just tweeted at him and said noob. But yeah, I love that guy. He's fucking one of the nicest guys in the Australian DayZ community. But yeah, no, it's such a pity, and I do hope they do something in the way of an expanded a new map. A new map for everyone would be great. Something we've never seen before. Maybe a snow map would be fucking awesome. One thing I've learnt of late is they keep their cards very close to their chest, and I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Every time, generally in the past, where they committed to something, weeks not months, in the 2015 roadmap, they're big memes in the community for a reason. So now they just kind of, we'll just surprise you, eh? And I actually kind of like it like that.
Let me ask you something. What do you think about Reforger? And what do you think is going to happen with DayZ? They're clearly making a big push for their new engine, the Forger. What do you think is going to happen with DayZ? Do you think there'll be a DayZ 2, or do you think there'll be an engine change, or what do you think is going to happen?
The smart money would be a DayZ DLC for Arma 4.
Yeah.
If it was me, that's what I'd be saying to my team. We will make a DayZ DLC for Armor 4, and because that will, don't quote me on this, but my understanding is that Armor 2 did not sell as well as they expected. It wasn't until the DayZ mod was released and went viral that they saw Armor 2 and Operation Arrowhead sales skyrocket, because everyone wanted to be able to play this fucking crazy game made by this mad fucking Kiwi. And Armor 4, as a full-on mill sim, it's a special game. It takes special people to get that involved. The half-hour briefings, and it's one of those games where DayZ, as much as DayZ is an intense game, you can just jump online and play it yourself. And yes, there are armor servers, Battle Royale and things like that, where you can just jump on and join in with squads and all the rest of it. But the really big stuff, the mill sim events and that, you've got to be on Friday night at 8 o'clock with the rest of the boys and then go and do your operations and all the rest of it. But yeah, that's what I think. I do agree, Mike. DayZ will continue for the next year, at least, maybe the next couple of years, because Armor 4 is not that close from what I can tell. It's at least 6 to 12 months away.
I think it's longer. I don't think they would have brought Reforger out as a paid thing if Armor 4 is coming out anytime soon. Because if they did and they brought out I don't either. But I don't think that. I think if Armor 4 was just around the corner, it would have been free. They have given you this because they need to make some money. Well, they probably don't need to make money. They probably ain't got more money enough to do it.
Could have made a fucking DLC for DayZ, and you would have made a shit ton of money.
Yeah, you would have made more than you did with Reforger. I don't believe Reforger sales were very good, but I don't think Armor 4 is coming anytime soon. I think Reforger was just kind of get you there, tied you over until Armor 4. I think maybe you're right.
Some modders are having fun with it, but I think it should have been a freebie. It should have been a goodwill.
I don't think there's enough there for it to be warranted being paid for. I don't think there's enough there for it to be warranted being paid for.
No.
Yeah, if Armor 4 is anything like Reforger, it will fucking flop. Absolutely, mate. Reforger is a fucking demo at best. It is, 2 to 3 more. I think that's what it needs as a minimum.
Yeah.
As a minimum, another 2 to 3 years.
Will they use DayZ as the test guinea pig? Maybe. I don't know. That's decisions that are way above my pay grade, folks. But yeah, I think it'll be. Yeah, it does have a bit of a cartoonish feel. I'm honestly going to agree with you there, Darkwing. It's just, yeah.
I like what they were going for, though. I like the return to the Cold War thing. I think Armor 3 was a little bit too futuristic, and I think Reforger being a bit more Cold War is a right decision to make. Yeah. I would like to see Armor 4 set in the same sort of time zone as either Armor 2 or Reforger.
My son's a massive Armor fan as well. He fires it up and plays around with creating missions and all the rest of it himself, and he said the same. He was happy to see a return to the Cold War.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like that suits it better. It's kind of hard if you were then going to say, this is Armor 4 DayZ DLC. It wouldn't feel as immersive or as grounded if you had the Armor 3 level weaponry and vehicles and stuff. It doesn't translate very well to an apocalypse, in my opinion. Yeah. Whereas some of the older, more worn down kit does.
Yep. Chat, do you guys have any questions you would like to ask Alex? Because Alex, I think we've been going for around about 2 hours now, give or take my technical fuck up when my modem shit itself. But while they think of any questions, I'm going to hit you up with a few other ones. Have you been to Lantia yet?
No, I haven't. I haven't been to Lantia. I have never managed to get the closest I ever got, mate. Was I got everything and I was on my way there and there was no storm for a while and then I was killed. So I haven't managed to get it. But the thing is, I do a lot of DayZ solo. So if there is anyone who wants to help me out, I would definitely be up for that. But I do a lot of DayZ solo. So a lot of the higher level, I think this is probably why when I get fully geared, fully milled, I tend to jump off because I don't play with a lot of other people doing the big raids and stuff and doing some of the stuff like Deer Isle and all the their end game stuff in that. I've never done either, so yeah, absolutely. I would be up for going. It's just something I've not done or had the opportunity to do. How about you? Have you been there yet?
Nah, haven't even fucking come close. I haven't even made it through the orb to the base. I've been through the orb and just ended up out on the ice before Adam added in the other locations.
Okay.
I was like, oh, this
So you're
is
like
pretty
OG
cool.
in the mouse, mate.
And it just
You
teleports
completed the mouse before it was cool, mate.
I still think the best one I've ever seen was someone tried to drive a car through it. That was the best fucking one I saw. That was brilliant. I can't remember if it worked. I think they died. I'm not sure.
Fucking awesome.
But yeah, one day I'll get around to it. I've been dabbling a bit in it. But yeah, I'm a bit the same attrition. I get sidetracked and then I end up dying.
I always end up dying. Yeah, same, mate.
That's the beauty of the Molsk. It is literally the best map for keeping you on your toes. You know, the other maps you could get swamped by infected but Namolsk, you're constantly sitting there and you're looking at things like, okay, I'm yellow hunger, I've got no food. And the amount of times I've died, unlike a certain wanker who claims he's never died to the environment. I love him, by the way, Gecko Fish. I have died to the environment many times on Namolsk, and it's usually always my own fault. I push it too hard. I go, no, I'll try to get to this next town when I've got a fishing rod and I could have stopped and I could have fished and I could have fucking got some food, but I always screw it up. Not always.
You got to try and do that in a mouse juggle, mate, where you realise you're going to starve to death and you just try and get as north as you can before you die. So when you spawn in, you can get as south as you can quickly and try and get your stuff back.
Yeah. But no,
you get to a point in your life,
like
I'm calling it. I need to go north now and die.
And I hope to see more of that survival elements coming into the game. I would love to see them do, I've said this time and time again, but I like to bring it up again to hear guest opinions. I'd love to see them do themed updates. Do one that's a more military one, do one that's a more civilian one, do one that's a more survival focused, and so on. Tristan's comment in chat there. That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, mate.
But yeah. So it doesn't look like anyone's got any questions there for you, but they did ask a few through the chat. Alex, I'm excited. Yeah, no, you are. You're very interesting, mate. And I think, like one person did say, I said it was going to be a juicy one, a bit, different to my usual podcast because we went off on a lot of tangents. But that's why I like doing these because we can just talk about whatever takes our fancy. I'm excited to see what you come up with in the future, mate. If I have any ideas, I will shoot them through like I have been because I'm looking forward to. Can we talk about the upcoming video you've got, ambushing?
Yeah, so I've got two videos coming up, two real sniper tactics video coming up. The first one coming up is on judging distance, how to effectively judge distance without anything,
known distances,
bracketing, harboring. Yeah.
Yep.
You've got a good podcast voice. Thank you very much, mate. Cheers, I appreciate that. And the second video I've got coming up is ambushes. So how to effectively set up an ambush with left cutoffs, right cutoffs, and bringing in stuff like the Claymore. So, that's the two videos coming up.
Hopefully, no, my commands have died again. Let me just fix that. I don't know what it is, but for some reason, between my Stream Deck, Streamlabs, and just doing the stream in general, my YouTube account keeps on dropping from the Streamlab or from the Stream Deck commands. So I've got to go back and add it back in again. There we go. So hopefully that'll work now. Yep, there we go. He's linked to his Discords there. Jump in. Who knows? Maybe Alex might need some people to help him with the ambush one because ambushing is an art form, folks. It is one of the most valuable assault attacks you can do because if you do it right, choose the right ground, position the right weapons in the right place, overlapping arcs and all the rest of it, you can absolutely destroy your enemy. And pretty much when I was in the army, the only counter to an ambush, we were told there's no such thing as contact left or right. There's contact front, there's contact rear. If you're getting shot at from the sides, that's an ambush. Ambush left, ambush right. And pretty much it always maddened me, but this was being taught to us by the old Vietnam era folks, mate. So they said the only counter is to turn and just walk towards it. You could pretty much, you're fucked.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a very good point, mate. You need to remember, unless you initiated the contact, you are not you're being ambushed. So unless you fired, you're already on the back foot. So if you didn't fire first, you're on the back foot. They have ambushed you. So every single time you get in contact, you should be doing a break contact drill. So yeah, the Twitch thing didn't work. So I haven't streamed in a little while, but it is something I will get back into. So don't worry. But yeah, if you're being shot at first, you've been ambushed. So yeah, they are very effective.
Yep. And if you don't know what to do, that link should work now, folks. I entered it in slightly wrong. The YouTube was too close. You haven't been active on Twitch much, mate.
No, so I honestly, with stuff like this, I'm useless at getting it set up. I don't know how to make the overlays and stuff like that. I like making long content, and honestly, time, bro. I took nearly a year off. Fucking about Ukraine and stuff. So always assault through an ambush. That's it, mate. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I took near a year off with Ukraine and other stuff that happened. So I'm kind of I've just got back into creating regular content. I think been doing it for a few weeks now. Back doing it regularly, but yeah, absolutely. So Twitch will come in the future. I've got to get things set up, and it's like the Discord is very bare bones at the minute. But yeah, we're slowly getting things up and running.
Mate, there are plenty of people in the 87.8 community that would be more than willing to give you a hand, mate. You don't need to go crazy with your overlays and all the rest of it. That can come with time. But the hard part is, like we were talking about, mate, keeping that split between Twitch and YouTube. And yeah, mate, you've had some videos. Your Real Sniper Tactics series is going really well. Like that 29,000 views for the last one you put up.
Yeah, so I made the first Real Sniper Tactics video. I think because there's nothing really like it out there. I think someone posted it to Reddit and it just fucking blew up, man. I think it hit 70K in I think it's sitting at just shy of about 80K at the minute. And then my Real Sniper Tactics are definitely the most popular videos. I do like making other videos. I covered Road to Vostok as well, and I make some Tarkov content as well. But I'm not very good. Tarkov's more just like a chilling out, and I'm having some fun making some content and editing. My main focus is the Real Sniper Tactics videos. But yeah, they're definitely popular.
Mate, you need to.
I'm just glad they can help people.
It was great. As I said, I was just a dumb grunt, mate, and then a Mortarman, and I did a Pioneer course. But it was great hearing from someone who got. A lot of people don't understand that snipers go through. They're the weirdos who go into fucking wind velocity, altitude, and fucking humidity, and all the rest of it, and what's going to affect the trajectory of their bullet. A grunt like me, it was just using the old Ozstire with the iron sight, with the scope mounted to it permanently, and it was literally put donut on target. Pull trigger. If aimed correctly, up to 300 meters, target should fall.
Simple.
Yeah, a nice and simple fucking rifle to use. But when you're
nice and simple, mate, target's a full win hit.
Yep, center of the CMAS, same for the chest area. Biggest area in the body and most likely to cause some major damage. But for snipers, it's a real science. And the part of that science isn't even just the firing; it's getting to the target. You go and read books like Carlos Havecock, Marine Sniper. Have you read that book?
Sorry, which one? That you cut out my end.
Oh, sorry. Carlos Havecock, Marine Sniper.
He's a Vietnam guy who crawled through the field and whacks that. Yeah, I've not read the book, but I know who the guy is. Yeah, he's a bit
brilliant
of a fucking badass.
Brilliant fucking book. And he talks about how hard all of that aspect was. He used to take just peanut crackers, crackers and peanut butter was his food that he lived on while he was out there. Wait, you guys don't just quick scope the enemies. No, mate, no, that's maybe when you're a elite sniper like Alex, with his fucking shaved legs and chest hair and all the rest of it.
You need to go away before you can. You need to go away and do a 6-week quick scoping course before you're eligible to.
Yeah, I was never certified on quick scoping.
You need to be a quick scoping course, mate.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Actually, that's one question I do want to have for you. This is something that came up in the PvP debate. And now, have you watched Toprek play DayZ?
Yeah, I've seen a few videos of him.
Does it bug you that the Mosin behaves the way that guy can make it work?
Yes. I'm sure that guy is plugged into the fucking main the way he manipulates this game. He is. You play Cyberpunk. You know when he sits back and the guy. Yes, you do, but you need to do it right. Okay, so this is one thing that annoys me. Okay, so I play a bit of Tarkov. I'm fucking awful at it. Yep. But Tarkov has a really good in-depth weapon, mechanics and stuff. But and it's good. When you move left to right, the scope moves left to right. But then when you pull the trigger, some of these weapons to make it balanced. You're suddenly looking at the fucking ceiling, and it's like, Jesus Christ, man. So it does need to be done, but it needs to be done well.
I'm not talking about recoil inertia. I'm talking about weight inertia of the weapon.
Yes, no, I know what you mean. I'm saying the weapon mechanics. It does need to be brought in, but it needs to be done right.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it go the way that other games have. I want to see it work well. Although I do like the inertia added.
I love the running inertia. It was buggy at first.
I think it was sorely needed.
But it's like there's a few things I'm still getting caught up on, particularly some of the barns to get into where it's a little bit of a elevation. It's a bit awkward to get into some of them.
Yeah, I know exactly how you mean.
And things, but for the most part, it's a much needed change. And the only thing that will complete it even better is weapon inertia. Make snipers not the sort of weapon you run around with in your hands to quick scope someone when they fucking appear in front of you, but something that's a more deliberate aimed choice, and you carry like an SMG on you for close range. That each weapon should have different draw speeds. Each weapon should have different time that it takes to raise to even to just hip fire, because when you've carried a long rifle. I did most of my training when I first joined with the SLR, or the FAL, which whilst it isn't the longest rifle in the world, it's a weighty little beast compared to the Steyr, which was basically just like a fucking little plastic toy. That thing you could bring up quickly. The SLR, though, it was not an easier way. It was a much harder weapon to bring up. So I would love to see that, so that you might actually see people running more with pistols to be able to use as a close range weapon, because they'll have the fastest draw speed. They'll be the most accurate from a hip fire. Like when you're trained with a pistol, I never shot a pistol in 10 years in the army. I was trained in them, did a lot of dry firing and practice with it and knew all the principles of it, but never got to fire them once in 10 years. I got out. And in Australia, they did a big gun buyback, and they did a second round of it. And a mate of mine had to sell his Glock. So before he sold it, he said, come down the range with me, Boydie, and we'll shoot off all the 9mm ammo I've got. And I went, brilliant. And he handed it to me, and I started pinging the targets. And he goes, didn't you say you've never shot them before? And I said, no, I've never shot one, but I've been trained in how to use it. Pistols are so underrated in DayZ. They are a great close quarters weapon.
Yeah, so when I was in the military and I was a sniper, I would always carry 3 weapon systems on me, and then obviously my number 2 would carry his weapon systems as well. So when I was the sniper, I would have my individual weapon, which is the SA80 or the L85 or whatever you want to call it. So I would have that. I would have 10 magazines of ammunition for that. And then in my bag on my back, I would have my sniper rifle collapsed down. And then I'd have five magazines of ammo in that, and then I'd also have my Glock, and I'd have 3 mags of that. So I had a lot of fucking weaponry on me. And then I would also have my number 2, who would have his sharpshooter and his pistol, and fucking grenades and all sorts. You'd be heavily kitted.
Yep.
But you would patrol somewhere, you'd sit down, and then you'd get your rifle out of your bag, set it up, maybe crawl 5-10 meters into a position, fire, crawl back out, put your sniper rifle away, and carry on with your rifle. It was never a weapon we patrolled with. It was you got down, you got it out, you crawled in, you fired, you crawled out, you put it away, you left. It was never a weapon you brought it, you never walked around with. So maybe if they brought in something like you couldn't fire it. The thing is, the Mosin is a rifle. You can fire the Mosin. You can fire all weapons from the shoulders, but
yeah,
for the hardcore sniper rifles, I think maybe if you brought in something where you could only fire them on a knee if they were lent against something, but then you're adding so many mechanics. It's kind of like, yeah. I get what you mean, though. I get what you mean.
I got one more for
you. Yes, the Glock carried UK. Glock as a sidearm. Yes, mate, we did. Normal infantry troops weren't issued them because they didn't need them. But however, because there might be a situation where a sniper might be behind his rifle, so his main weapon is behind him, and then he's in front of it, he's got his rifle, and then somebody just fucking walks out in the open, and they're kind of very close distance. You needed to have some sort of weapon system you could draw and engage the enemy with, because obviously the Glock is only accurate to about 25 meters, so it's kind of a shit hits the fan
for
weapon.
An easy example of it, look at Silo Entertainment when he's doing his airsoft. He's primarily known as an airsoft sniper, but he'll always carry his 9mm. And this is just even in what's technically a game. And if he hears movement near him, he doesn't swing his sniper rifle around. He pulls out his little airsoft pistol and uses that to engage people at close range.
Yeah, pistols are cool as fuck. And I tell you what, I would never want to clear a building without a pistol, because they allow you to use that transition so quickly. So say you're walking through a building and then you fire your weapon and you get a stoppage. It's so easy to just sling it to the side, pull the pistol and start firing. And that'd help you, because that'd be a very butt clenching moment, getting stoppage clearing a building.
When I got to shoot the Glock, I was talking to my my civvy mate, and I was saying I actually did a military unarmed combat course in the army, and one of the things they taught us was how to disarm a pistol. And one of the first things you want to do is try to inactivate the pistol. And the easiest way to do that, for those who understand how pistols work, when you shoot it, so you've got the slide on the top, the slide bolt goes back and comes forward and loads into the round. So they'd always teach us, grab the pistol by the barrel. So even if they get one shot off, you've stopped the slide from going. So it's basically a dead weapon until they can recock it. I explained that to him, and he goes, you probably wouldn't want to do that with a Glock. And I said, why is that? And he goes, the gas extractors are on the top. You'd burn your hand really bad. And I was like, wow. And he goes, I'll show you. And he'd had this demonstration shown to him before, and he got 2 empty Coke cans and put another one on top, and we put the Glock underneath it and shot it. And the amount of heat that comes out of those extractors, the Coke can just shriveled up like that. I was like, damn, the more you know.
Yeah. Glocks are cool bits of kit there. Glocks are fucking cool. M9 is nice. Glock's better than the M9. I've never fired the M9, so I wouldn't be able. The only pistols I've ever fired are the Glock and the SIG.
Yep. One other question for you. What do you think of the inventory system in DayZ? One of my big bugbears, and this is me coming in with my realism, you're ruining my immersion, all the rest of it, but I hate that someone can have an MP5 or a baby AK, or if the pack is big enough, a fucking FAL or a bloody M4 in their backpack and just whip it out of nowhere.
I was thinking about this the other day. Because I seen someone put, what did I watch him put? He put a submachine gun and he put it in his plate carrier. And in my head, I was thinking, how fucking ridiculous must that be? How would you even do that? You'd have to have all the mag pouches open on your plate carrier, and then you'd have to tuck it in. Yeah, Mike, exactly. Tarkov does it better. I think that might be a good addition. Does it start to make it more systems on systems on systems for DayZ? Possibly.
I just like
but
the
I do
idea
think Tarkov has a good
of people having to think about where they put things better. That if you've got magazines and ammunition in your backpack, you shouldn't be able to access that stuff. I've had people try to tell me, well, I can access my backpack when I'm hiking and things like that. And I went, you've never carried a military backpack. When you're talking a military backpack, those things weigh 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 kilos at times, depending on what you're carrying. You can't just, while you're holding a rifle in one hand, whip your pack around and get into it. The DayZ inventory is
you're right. Also,
basic.
those people who say they can get in their backpack quickly, you might be able to get in your backpack quickly, but I promise you, going in your backpack is not quick enough when you need to do a fucking mag change when you need to do it.
Yeah.
You can never do a mag change quick enough.
I would just
For those
like
of you
to
who
see
want to know
people
how
having
quickly to do it,
put their mags in their vest, and maybe in stuff that's on their belt, and if it's in your backpack, it's out of mind, out of sight. Maybe you can still see it. I know there's some good mods out there that make it so that you can't access stuff that's in your backpack, but I think that should be something in just to add a little bit more pre-planning, before you head off. Maybe still allow stuff to go straight into your backpack if there's room when you pick it up, but if you want to be able to access that, you need to make sure that it's in those relevant pouches or your pockets, on your shirt, your jacket, whatever. But the backpack, no, it should be.
You could even add an interesting mechanic to that. You could add the lower down it is in your backpack, the longer it takes for you to access it. So say you had a belt-fed machine gun or whatever, or you had so many mags, you needed to put some in your day sack. If you put them on the top of your day sack and it was like a Tetris thing, they fell down. Like maybe you put your food at the bottom and your kit, and then it fell down, and then you could put your mags right on the top. But if you weren't paying attention, you put your mags at the bottom of the thing. Well, then guess what? You got to get all your shit out to get your magazines.
It's interesting hearing you say this because I remember when we were chatting the other day, and I had a bit of a laugh when you were playing DayZ in the video where you talk about where you've been, and you were going, geez, my inventory is a shit fight. And I was like, a sniper whose inventory is a shit fight? I thought those guys would have had that shit squared away like a science. And then you fessed up to me that was one of your worst areas.
That's one of my admin, mate. Admin's not my weak point. I was rogue, I was rogue.
Yeah.
I was I was always a do it on the day guy, They were like, "You want to get this prep?" I'm like, "Fuck it, I'll do it on the day, mate." It is the day.
Like, as we say here in Australia, she'll be right, mate.
Yeah, that's it, mate. It'll be right.
Alex, this has been one of my favourite interviews of all time, mate. Like I said at the start, there's a camaraderie, and particularly because we're from two very similar militaries. The Australian Army works still very closely with the British military. We do an exercise or operation, they call it, operation or exercise long look or operation long look, where we would exchange junior NCOs, corporals, and learn from each other. And I got to work with a couple of really good POMs, one from a light infantry brigade and one from the Welsh Guards. Two fucking top blokes, absolutely fucking top blokes. Learned so much from them, particularly as one of them had Ireland experience as well, during the Troubles. So he was able to teach us an absolute shitload of stuff. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun talking with you, mate. I'm certain hopefully the viewers have picked up on, there's just that weird chemistry between people who served.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. It's been great to come on. I'd love to come back at some point and
mate,
have a chat. I've had a lot of fun.
We'll have to see about trying to get you on the podcast with the lads one week as well. And but definitely look at getting you back on again, mate. And keep going with what you're doing, mate. You've definitely found a bit of a niche there for something that, whilst there's been people who've done guides and all the rest of it, as I did with many years ago, my silly Why Things Are Seen video was one of my most popular videos, and there's an appetite for it out there. 77,000 views on your real sniper tactics video, and hopefully you get those same sort of views on the other ones, counter sniping and navigation. There's mate, I got so hard when I watched Archie Stormclad's video where he's talking about northings and eastings. It was like, I have not heard those terms in fucking years. Oh,
you got a little erect.
I did. I had a little chubby poking
bit
up.
Of GMA, bit of northings and eastings, true north, grid north, magnetic north. Oh,
mate, I was using GPSs back when you had to sit there and wait for 3 satellites to fucking come across the sky. Seriously.
Awesome, mate. Awesome.
Yeah, and when you're trying to use them in the jungle, trying to find 3 satellites, that was fucking interesting.
Yeah, man.
And now my phone
not happening, is it?
My phone gives me a more accurate location than fucking the GPSs did back when I was using them. Hilarious. I love it.
Fucking crazy, isn't it?
Mate, keep going, keep killing it. You're doing really well, and I hope this gets you a bit more exposure with people, particularly those who, a bit of a blurred line between reality and gaming, and some stuff doesn't play well in a game, but some of it does. And a game like DayZ, Armour, Squad, etc., they're perfect games for to be able to learn, even if you've never served. Some of you might have been aware you were doing stuff, didn't understand why. Watching these videos might help validate that what you've been doing actually makes sense in the real world as well.
Yeah, we kind of spoke about that the other day, didn't we? That tactics are common sense, and you will eventually come to these conclusions on your own. But obviously, in real life, you only get one attempt at it, so you need to be told them straight up front. So yeah, like some people may watch the videos and be like, "Oh man, I've been fucking doing all this," and it's like, that's good for you. Like, well done. You're doing better than a lot of people are because you've come to that conclusion yourself. I know people who are taught basic tactics every fucking day and they still can't get their heads around it. So well done.
And if you have a look at the thumbnails of his videos, yes, that actually is him, and he didn't just pick a person randomly off the internet. That's him wearing...
Yeah, no, that is me in Afghanistan.
Actually, one last question. What do you think of the ghillie suits in DayZ?
Oh man, no game is ever going to be able to do a ghillie suit well, because contrary to popular belief, the ghillie suit isn't just a big bush that hides you. It's like stripped sandbag. It's bits of thing, and it's just kind of meant to break the outline. I'm telling you all about the latest video. You can go and watch the video, you understand? And then you add natural camouflage to it to help blend it in a little bit better. No, they're not these giant bushes, and also, getting in a fucking river in a ghillie suit is the worst decision you can ever fucking make in your life, because those things just absorb water like anything. So one of the kind of the initiations to get onto the sniper course, you do what's called a ghillie run, and basically you get in a ghillie suit and they just pour cold water all over you and they just take you out and they just run you into the ground, crawl you through the mud, and basically these things just absorb water and mud and they get so fucking heavy. And I would not want to jump into a freezing cold river on the mouse in a ghillie suit and try and swim, because you just sink. You'll just sink. It'll get so heavy. I think we weighed my ghillie suit after my ghillie run, and with all the mud and water, it weighed about 23 kilo.
Wow.
One thing, so don't get in water.
I really wish they would add is like a ghillie sort of style wrap that you could put on backpacks to make them blend in better. Because
absolutely.
That would be one thing I would love to see. But yeah, and they're fucking hot. They are hot as fuck. Yes. That's one thing I do know.
You don't need a jacket. If you've got a ghillie suit on, you don't need a jacket. It'll keep you warm.
Alex, thank you once again, mate.
No worries, mate. Thank you very much for having me on, and thank you everyone who come to watch. It's been a pleasure. I feel very privileged.
No, mate, the privilege is all mine. And I'll say that weird thing that always makes veterans feel weird. Thank you for your service.
Oh, fuck off.
Don't you hate it when they say that?
Oh, it's so cringy, man.
It was one that I struggled with a bit as well. It was like the first time I ever had it said to me was by a politician in Townsville when I was at a community group meeting talking about unemployment in the region. And I was kind of, okay, thank you.
You don't know how to react, do you? You just don't know how to. It's like come from America where they're very.
I finally learned to say thank you for your support. Because it's a weird one when you're not used to it. It's a very American thing that's spread. And I understand and I appreciate people saying it, but it's kind of unnerving. It's like, I didn't join. I didn't join for you to have to thank me, but yeah.
No, absolutely. It's a very. I hate being when it says that. I'm like, oh, fuck, man.
Makes you feel really.
I just want the ground to swallow me up.
Mate, I've still got medals that are just still sitting in the box they got delivered to me. I'm not at all about that sort of stuff. I just, okay.
Mate, do you know what? I honestly don't even know where my medals are. They're in the house somewhere. I don't even know where they are.
You've got kids now, mate. You need to make sure. That's the only reason why I applied for my defence service medal. It was like I hadn't bothered for applying for it. My son said to me, "Dad, you know you're entitled to a medal and a badge and that." And I went, "Oh, am I?" And he goes, "Yeah," and also some certificate from the government. And I was like, "Okay." And I got around to doing it. And really the only reason I did it was so that he'll have them when I eventually move on. But it held little interest to me. I got my double ASM and my infantry combat badge from Somalia that got presented to me on parade, so I was happy with that. But yeah, I know this sort of stuff means a bit to him, so I wanted to make sure he had it.
That's it, man. We don't do these things for ourselves, do we?
No. Nope.
Nobody joins the army to get medals.
No. Well, we all kind of dream of maybe getting a VC, or a Medal of Honor if you're American, but yeah. Yep.
Yeah, man.
No, thank you again, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. Your videos were you got the highest tick of approval. I sent it through to my mate Vigilante Gamer, and everyone knows that I would crawl over 100 yards to suck the dick of the last man who fucked him. That's how much I think of Vigilante Gamer, and he rated your stuff and shared it out as well, mate. And you got to watch a bit of his channel.
Guys.
Yeah, he doesn't do that often. He was very impressed with what you delivered. So keep it up, mate.
Thank you very much. I will do. Thank you. And keep up the podcast. It's been great to come on.
Mate, I like I said to you, I just enjoy finding topics and people that I find interesting, getting them on and talking about anything and everything, primarily DayZ focused. But, you know, as I saw on this one, we went a bit off track and talked about some other stuff. It was still kind of relevant, but, you know, this is my hobby. I enjoy doing it. There's so many fascinating people in this gaming community.
Yeah, it certainly is a good community to be part of. That's for sure.
No more overseas trips either. You got a family now.
I'll think about it, mate. I'll think about it. Sometimes I get a little bit bored.
You get that blood pumping.
Yeah, that's it. When it goes a few months and nobody tries to kill me, I get a little bit bored.
I've heard there's some areas of the UK, mate, where you could go and that'd probably still happen to you.
Mate, honestly, I'd rather be back in Ukraine than go to some parts of the UK.
Scotland, where Mike's from, eh?
Yeah, absolutely, mate.
Yeah. Okay, then, mate. All the best, and yeah, I'll be watching with interest what you come out with, mate.
Thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you all later. Okay.
Ciao for now.
Ciao.